Chapter 609. Since Chu Si had made a request, and her strength had also reached the standard, Chu Si's strength had already reached the standard. Lin Yuan naturally would not refuse. No problem, but you still have to focus on your studies. You can't fall behind. Chu Si hurriedly nodded and patted her chest. Lin Yuan, don't worry. I can be a reserve member first and try to improve my strength in 1 year. Upon hearing Chu Si's words, Listen, who was wearing a silver mask and looked very much like Black, revealed a bitter smile. Listen felt that he was quite talented, but after joining the Dome Guild Club, he increasingly felt that his strength was insufficient. In particular, after hearing Chu Si's words, Listen felt even more pressured. Listen had been loyal to Lin Yuan for a long time and knew how many resources he had. Even if she was not very talented, just the resources in Lin Yuan's hands were enough for her to have strength far beyond her peers. Moreover, she was the #1 genius of the Radiance Federation's younger generation on Star Web. Recently, Listen had been busy managing the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce and had slacked off in training his combat skills. Listen had made up his mind. In the future, even if he had to sleep 2 hours less every day, he would hone his combat skills and improve his strength. The resting rooms of the club guilds in front of him all had the emblem of the various club guilds. It was easy to tell which guild club this lounge belonged to. The lounge of an A-rank guild club was at least 3 times larger than that of a B-rank guild club. Especially in terms of the decorations and designs, it showed that the A-grade clubs were far superior to the B-grade clubs. It revealed the superiority of an A-ranked club guild. Regardless of whether it was the lounge of an A-rank guild club or a B-rank guild club, the design style of the lounge was translucent. Aside from the closed combat meeting room in the lounge, one could see the activities of the guild members in the rest of the room through the transparent walls. Chu Si was not a fan of celebrities, but when she saw many Radiance 100 sequence members in the guild club, she could not help but feel excited. Chu Si couldn't help but feel excited. Seeing this, Lu Jia pondered for a moment and suggested. This year's Radiance 100 sequence selection will be conducted on Star Web using a special selection method. Even the elimination process will be broadcasted on Star Web. Chu Si, you can watch it if you're interested. Compared to the All-Star competition, it was obvious that the Radiance 100 sequence selection was more attractive to her. When Lin Yuan saw the excitement and seriousness in Chu Si's expression, he knew that she wanted to know more about the Radiance 100 sequence selection besides watching the show. This was because the Radiance 100 sequence was also her current goal as a spirit chi professional. Chu Si was filled with anticipation and excitement when she heard Lu Jia's words. More than that, he was puzzled. Big Brother Lu, in the past Radiance 100 sequence selections, didn't we only see people who had gone through the elimination process and the original sequence members from sequence 90 to 100 compete in the arena? How come I can even watch the elimination process now? Lu Jia shook his head gently when he heard her question. As a Radiance 100 sequence member, Lu Jia naturally had some insider information. Lu Jia had mentioned it to him before. However, what puzzled Lu Jia was that the Radiance Sacred Hall had not disclosed the follow-up news and had kept it a secret. He was afraid that this secret would only be announced when the Radiance 100 elimination competition was going to take place. I heard that this time, the Guild Alliance will be able to apply for the Radiant Light Palace as the venue for the All-Star competition. A large part of the reason is that the Radiance Sacred Hall wants to use the participation of the Radiance 100 sequence members in the various A and B guild clubs to warm up for the new Radiance 100 selection. Otherwise, no matter how much the Guild Alliance invested, they wouldn't be able to apply for permission to host the All-Star Carnival at the Palace of Glow. At most, it will be the same as last year's tournament finals, applying for the Hall of Starlight. Upon hearing Lu Jia's words, Lin Yuan felt that the Radiance 100 sequence selection this time would not be simple. As he walked, he found himself passing by the lounge with the emblem of the Extreme Guild Club on the wall in front of him. Lin Yuan looked through the transparent glass wall and looked inside the Extreme Guild Club. In the end, he did not see any of the 4 of them. At that moment, Lin Yuan saw someone wearing the Extreme Guild Club's uniform walking toward the club's lounge. Lin Yuan hurriedly stepped forward and asked. "Excuse me, is Zhang Xiaobai in the lounge? I want to talk to him." The person Lin Yuan called was a short-haired youth with pockmarks on his face. Upon hearing Lin Yuan mention Zhang Xiaobai, the short-haired youth with pockmarks on his face showed a complicated expression. Zhang Xiaobai is no longer a member of the Extreme Guild Club's reserve team. Zhang Xiaobai has terminated his contract with the Extreme Guild Club and left. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan was about to ask about Xianing, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru. He found that the short-haired youth with freckles on his face ignored him and turned to walk into the lounge. Lin Yuan's brows were tightly knitted together. Lin Yuan saw that the pockmarked, short-haired youth was wearing the Extreme Guild Club's uniform with a reserve team member's identity card. The youth with pockmarks on his face had a hidden trace of joy and schadenfreude in his complicated expression. In Lin Yuan's opinion, it was very likely that Zhang Xiaobai had terminated his contract with the Extreme Guild Club. This pockmarked youth had the opportunity to become a member of the Extreme Guild Club's reserve team. After all, there were only 5 main and reserve team members that could be officially declared by the Guild Alliance. However, most of the guild clubs would nurture many reserve talents so that they could fill in time once there were vacancies. Lin Yuan had only guessed that something had happened to Zhang Xiaobai and the others, but he did not expect it to be so big. Zhang Xiaobai, Xianing, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru's daily lives as spirit chi professionals revolved around the Extreme Guild Club. They completed the missions arranged by the Extreme Guild Club day after day. At the same time, they trained and participated in the S tournament year after year. Not long ago, when Lin Yuan had chatted with Zhang Xiaobai and the others, Zhang Xiaobai had said that he was ready to play in the S tournament in the Extreme Guild Club until he was 30 years old. When he reached the upper limit required by the Guild Alliance, he would then transform into a full-time mercenary. In just a few short days, what had happened to completely change Zhang Xiaobai's mind? The second was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 610. The Extreme Guild Club did not treat Zhang Xiaobai and the others well. However, Zhang Xiaobai and the others had always been very concerned about the Extreme Guild Club. When you walked to Lin Yuan's side and asked softly, "Young master, do you want me to check the reason?" Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan shook his head and replied, "No need. I'll make a call and ask first." Originally, Lin Yuan thought that if he could meet Zhang Xiaobai at the all-star match, Xianing and the others would ask. Lin Yuan had thought that if he could meet Zhang Xiaobai at the all-star match, he would ask Xianing and the others. However, Lin Yuan did not expect that Zhang Xiaobai had actually withdrawn from the Extreme Guild Club. This made Lin Yuan want to immediately ask Zhang Xiaobai what had happened. Just as Lin Yuan picked up his cell phone and was about to call Zhang Xiaobai, in the distance, several staff members were dealing with a dispute between 2 youths. In the distance, several staff members were dealing with a dispute between 2 young men. Lin Yuan took a closer look and found that the youth whose phone was ringing in his pocket was Zhang Xiaobai. Although they were very far apart, Lin Yuan could see the abnormal anger on Zhang Xiaobai's unruly face. Lin Yuan took a closer look and found that the youth whose phone was ringing in his pocket was Zhang Xiaobai. The youth who was confronting Zhang Xiaobai was very strong and was a head taller than Zhang Xiaobai. His arms were thicker than Zhang Xiaobai's thighs. Zhang Xiaobai was already 185 meters tall and was considered a taller existence among the Radiance Federation's spirit chi professionals. The sturdy man stood there like a black iron tower. However, this black iron tower-like strong man's eyes were looking at Zhang Xiaobai with obvious mockery. Zhang Xiaobai was also trying his best to restrain his emotions. He clenched and released his fists, and the veins on his forehead were bursting out. Lu Jie could keenly sense the change in Lin Yuan's emotions and walked to his side. "Young master, do you know the person in front? It's a serious problem to cause trouble in the Radiance Sacred Hall. It's best not to blow things up. Otherwise, it will affect the guild that is participating in the all-star match. If young master knows him, I can go and deal with it." Lu Jie did not know Zhang Xiaobai and did not know that Lin Yuan and Zhang Xiaobai had once guarded Millstone Town and experienced life and death together. However, Lu Jie knew that this matter had gotten out of hand when he saw that 6 staff members of the Radiant Light Temple had surrounded them. Otherwise, an ordinary conflict would only be handled by 2 staff members at most. Upon closer inspection, Lu Jie saw an indistinct red mark on the towering man's face. From the looks of it, there had already been a physical altercation. Lin Yuan's brows were tightly knitted behind his mask. Lin Yuan knew Zhang Xiaobai very well, and he was not a troublemaker. Therefore, there must be a reason for such a situation to occur. At that moment, Lin Yuan saw the black tower-like sturdy man step forward and say something to Zhang Xiaobai. At that moment, Lin Yuan keenly noticed that Zhang Xiaobai's body was constantly leaning toward the burly man. Lin Yuan thought, not good. Zhang Xiaobai was probably unable to control his emotions after hearing the words of the black iron tower-like man. If the conflict between Zhang Xiaobai and Zhang Xiaobai in the Palace of Glow could be said to be over after several staff members dealt with it. However, if Zhang Xiaobai made trouble in front of the 6 staff members of the Palace of Glow, it would be tantamount to provoking the staff members of the Palace of Glow, and the nature of the matter would become serious. Let's go and take a look together. After speaking, Lin Yuan quickly walked toward the site of the conflict. Just as Zhang Xiaobai clenched his fist and was ready to throw it out recklessly, he found that his wrist was held by someone, and a familiar voice sounded in his ear. Xiaobai, what's the situation? Zhang Xiaobai, whose wrist was suddenly held by Lin Yuan, suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. He realized that he had been too impulsive just now. Zhang Xiaobai obviously did not expect to meet Lin Yuan here and wanted to smile at Lin Yuan. However, when the smile appeared on his face, it turned into a bitter smile. At that moment, the black iron tower-like sturdy man spoke in a low, muffled voice. Since the conflict was not initiated by me, I will also go back and prepare for a combat meeting. After getting the consent of the 6 Palace of Glow staff members, the black iron tower-like sturdy man looked at Zhang Xiaobai with eyes full of mockery and playfulness. Hee, you still have friends. If you have friends, why don't you think about how to borrow some money from them? Give me the money, and I'll put away the things that need to be put away. It won't delay your business. After saying that, the sturdy man turned around and walked toward the lounge on the side. Unbeknownst to the burly man, he was being scrutinized by Lu Jie as he turned around and walked into the lounge. After taking a few glances at the tower-like man, Lu Jie couldn't help but look at Zhang Xiaobai with sympathy. Lin Yuan let go of Zhang Xiaobai's wrist. Little White, you need a lot of money. I have some here. When Zhang Xiaobai heard Lin Yuan's words, his heart warmed. But then Zhang Xiaobai shook his head and said, "It's not as simple as money." As he spoke, Zhang Xiaobai's eyes turned red. At this moment, a solemn voice suddenly sounded. Former Extreme Guild Club Reserve Team member Zhang Xiaobai, right? You initiated an attack on Meng Su, a member of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's main force in the resting area, am I right? Right after this solemn voice sounded, Lu Jie, who was standing behind Lin Yuan, stepped forward and took off his mask. I'm Radiance 100 Sequence 30, Lu Jie. This person is my friend. He had a small conflict with a member of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. He already knows his mistake. Let's settle this in private. There will be no conflict in the Palace of Glow. When the 6 staff members saw Lu Jie, they looked at each other. The staff member who spoke just now said to Lu Jie, "Since that's the case, please don't do it again." After that, the 6 staff members of the Palace of Glow returned to their original areas, ready to deal with any accidents that might happen next. Upon seeing that Zhang Xiaobai had something to say to him but did not know how to say it, Lin Yuan patted him on the shoulder and said, "Don't worry. Xiaobai was doing fine in the Extreme Guild Club previously. Why did she suddenly decide to leave the Extreme Guild Club?" Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Zhang Xiaobai pursed his lips tightly and said after a long while, "Lin Yuan, can you lend me 300,000 radiance dollars? Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan took out his star web card. Before Lin Yuan could speak, Lu Jia walked to Zhang Xiaobai's side and asked. Were your teammates injured by Meng Su from the Barbarian Snake Guild Club and had their senses stolen by Meng Su's contracted sensory theft King Gu? Are they lying in the hospital like vegetative people now? The third one. End of chapter. Chapter 611. Lu Jia's words made Lin Yuan's hand, which was holding onto the star web card, pause. A person relied on spiritual energy to control the human body's movements, while the five senses were tools for spiritual energy to control the human body's movements and cognition of the surroundings. Depriving the five senses was akin to stealing a person's hearing, sight, smell, taste, and touch. Without these five senses, even if one's spiritual energy and soul were not depleted, one would still sink into the endless darkness. Zhang Xiaobai looked at Lu Jia in a daze and nodded gratefully to Lu Jia. It could be said that Zhang Xiaobai and Lu Jia were very similar people, just like how Zhang Xiaobai had protected Millstone Town and how Lu Jia had resisted the insect tide outside Cold Frost City. Among the Radiance 100 sequence, Zhang Xiaobai liked many people. However, apart from liking Lu Jia, Zhang Xiaobai respected him more. His idol was standing at the side and helping him out. If it was any other time, Zhang Xiaobai would have jumped 3 feet high. His mouth was like an old lady's cotton pants, chattering non-stop. But now, Zhang Xiaobai's mood was getting heavier, and he felt helpless at the same time. Originally, Zhang Xiaobai did not want to involve Lin Yuan. The Barbaric Snake Guild Club was a veteran B-grade guild club without the Radiance Hundred's backing, and the power behind it should not be underestimated. However, when Lu Jia mentioned Meng Su and his contracted Fei, the Steel Perception King Gu, Zhang Xiaobai started to talk. He poured out everything that had happened during this period of time. 4 days ago, Lady White Devil unilaterally terminated the contract with the Extreme Guild Club. As a result, 3 members of the main team were unable to participate in the top 16 duel. The 4 of us arranged to go up. When that damn Wei Chong was accumulating his abilities, he actually asked Lu Pinru to help him block the damage. Lu Pinru is a defense-type spirit chi professional, and Wei Chong is a scoundrel. Zhang Xiaobai was originally a chatterbox, and it was rare for him to calm down. After holding it in for 4 days, he could no longer hold back his chatterbox. The more Lin Yuan listened, the tighter his frown became. Lin Yuan had always known that there was a problem with the Extreme Guild Club, but he did not expect it to be so huge. In combat, the captain of a small team was usually the commander, and the captain's will would greatly affect the team's combat style. It could be said that the captain's words were in order. Zhang Xiaobai, Tan Ran, Lu Pinru, and Xianing were replaced by 4 of the main team members who were unable to attend the match. This was a match that they were bound to lose. Wei Chong, as the team leader, had ordered Lu Pinru to use her body to block the attack. This meant that Wei Chong did not care about Lu Pinru's safety at all. The duels in the real world were different from the Celestial Stairway duels on Star Web. In the Celestial Stairway duels, some Fays could use suicidal attacks at will in exchange for victory. However, in a real battle, any collision had to be handled with extreme caution. Every serious injury caused by a collision would require them to look for a creation master for treatment after the competition. In some serious cases, spirit chi professionals and Fays had even died. Lin Yuan now roughly understood why Zhang Xiaobai had quit the Extreme Guild Club. At that moment, Zhang Xiaobai continued speaking. When Lu Pinru helped Wei Chong block the attack, she wasn't wearing any silk clothing at all. At that time, apart from me, Wei Chong took all of the silk clothing that Lu Pinru had made. In Wei Chong's team, what's the use of so many silk clothing for a combat-type spirit chi professional with high explosive long-range elemental damage? Upon hearing this, Lin Yuan could not help but interrupt. Wei Chong was wearing so many of Lu Pinru's clothes. How could he let Lu Pinru help block the attack? Lin Yuan had worn the hard armor silk clothing woven by Lu Pinru's Fei, lustrous weaver silkworm. Lin Yuan had a deep understanding of the hard armor silk clothing's defense. Just a layer of the hard armor silk clothing's defense should be able to match the damage that a support-type spirit chi professional like Lu Pinru could withstand, right? Upon hearing Lin Yuan's question, Zhang Xiaobai's expression turned into deep worry. The Fey that attacked Wei Chong was the soul-crushing spike from the Savage Snake Guild Club's main team leader's Fey, the soul-crushing hedgehog. The soul-crushing spike's speed is not fast, and even I can dodge it. However, Wei Chong clearly could have dodged it, but he didn't. Wei Chong was bound to lose, but he still wanted to use the continue ability, wanting to replace a member of the Savage Snake Guild Club to increase his stats in the tournament. When the tournament was about to end, Meng Su used the Sense Theft King Gu to steal Lu Pinru's, Xian Ying's, and Tan Rant's senses. It's fine that Xian Ying's and Tan Rant's senses were stolen. When Meng Su controlled the Sense Theft King Gu to fight, he would always release Xian Ying's and Tan Rant's senses in order to free up the Sense Theft King Gu's 5 senses. But Lu Pinru's soul was already injured, and she had lost her 5 senses. How could she withstand it? Upon hearing this, Lin Yuan clenched his fists tightly. Among all the Feys, only an extremely small number of Feys could cause damage to the soul. People had always been wary of Feys that could cause damage to the soul. A damaged soul was definitely a fatal blow to a spirit chi professional. Apart from feeling the intense pain at the soul level, the spirit chi professional's grade would not be able to increase before the soul injury was healed. If a creation master's soul spirit was injured, before the soul spirit recovered, no matter how talented they would be stuck at the pinnacle of Class 3 creation masters. A Class 4 creation master's technique already involved the usage of soul spirit power. The excruciating pain in the soul was unbearable, no matter how strong-willed one was. On the other hand, the 5 senses dominated by mental power could effectively share the pain when the soul was in pain. However, Lu Pinru had been deprived of her 5 senses. She could only slowly savor the pain and torment that came from her soul in the darkness of imprisonment. It was fine if it was only for a short period of time, but if it continued for a long period of time, his spirit and soul would collapse under the torture of the soul pain. At that time, Lu Pinru would be finished. At that moment, Lin Yuan felt his sleeve being pulled. He turned his head and found Chu Ci, who was wearing a silver mask, looking at him. He saw anger and worry in her eyes. Lin Yuan patted Chu Ci's hand and asked Zhang Xiaobai in a deep voice. So, 300,000 radiance dollars is the price for Meng Su to release Lu Pinru, Xian Ying, and Tan Rant's 5 senses? Zhang Xiaobai gritted his teeth and said. Meng Su knew that Lu Pinru's soul spirit was injured, so he continued to release the 5 senses trapped in the Sense Theft King Gu. 300,000 is the price Meng Su offered to release Lu Pinru's 5 senses. First, more. Seeking recommendation votes and monthly votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 612. Having said that, Zhang Xiaobai wanted to raise his fist and punch the wall next to the Palace of Glow. Zhang Xiaobai could not bear the feeling of being bullied and taking advantage of the situation. However, when Zhang Xiaobai felt the cold eyes of the staff of the Palace of Glow not far away, he was so scared that he quickly withdrew his fist and said with hatred. If not for the fact that there's no one to take care of the 3 of them right now, I would really want to fight it out with Meng Su. Back in the Xia region, Lin Yuan had climbed up step by step. For more than a decade, he had been leading Chu Ci through the trivialities of life alone, and it was not rare for him to be bullied by others. Therefore, Lin Yuan could understand Zhang Xiaobai's feelings very well. Xiaobai, didn't the Extreme Guild Club help you deal with this? Zhang Xiaobai pretended to be indifferent and shrugged. However, Lin Yuan realized that Zhang Xiaobai's voice had changed a little. It's not that we're not doing anything, but this matter involves the main member, Wei Chong. We also encountered Captain White Devil withdrawing from the Extreme Guild Club and terminating his contract with the Extreme Guild Club. The management of the Extreme Guild Club knows that they might not even make it to the top 32 with their current strength next year. Therefore, the Extreme Guild Club doesn't want to offend the Savage Snake Guild Club, which has been in the top 16 for the past few years. Plus, Lu Pinru's soul is injured. After weighing the pros and cons, the union has decided to increase my, Xin Ying's, and Tan Rant's benefits. They haven't given any specific treatment plan for Lu Pinru. At the same time, I have also arranged for a support-type spirit chi professional in the reserve team. What's the point of staying in a guild like this? Zhang Xiaobai's tone became deeper and deeper. As he spoke, Zhang Xiaobai's eyes turned red. After saying that, Zhang Xiaobai sighed softly. This sigh spat out all of Zhang Xiaobai's longing and hard work in the Extreme Guild Club, despite the trials and tribulations he had faced. Apart from a few guild clubs that were established by Radiance 100 sequence members and focus on results, there aren't many guild clubs. Many club guilds have powerful forces supporting them, so they value profit more than anything else. No one knew if Lu Jia was comforting Zhang Xiaobai when he said that. He was still explaining the situation to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan nodded at Lu Jia's words. Lin Yuan ran his faction, Sky City, so he naturally knew the importance of profits. However, in Lin Yuan's heart, some things were always more important than pure interests. At that moment, Lu Jia continued to speak. Meng Su of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club has been doing similar things for the past few years. The other main members of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club also know about Meng Su's actions. Lu Jia's words were filled with disgust for the Barbarian Club. Lin Yuan didn't quite understand, no matter how the factions weighed their interests. However, the Guild Alliance couldn't just ignore a tumor like the Barbarian Snake Guild Club, right? I remember that the Guild Alliance has very strict requirements for the tournament clubs. Surely someone has reported this situation to the Guild Alliance. Lu Jia snorted coldly at the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's lounge. After the Theft Sense King insect steals the 5 senses, it can release the 5 senses at any time. Even if someone reports the Barbarian Snake Guild, before the Guild Alliance can investigate the Barbarian Snake Guild, the Theft Sense King insect will release the 5 senses imprisoned in its body. Out of all the B-rank club guilds, the Barbarian Snake Guild Club should be the only guild that isn't popular at all. Instead, it's hated. Last year, when the All-Stars drew lucky spectators, the lucky spectator that the Barbarian Snake Guild Club drew didn't choose to participate in a mentoring battle but a challenge. That lucky spectator was immediately beaten up by the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's representative, and his Fae was severely injured. This incident caused the Barbarian Snake Guild Club to almost not be able to participate in this year's All-Stars. When you had been standing quietly at the side, listening to Lin Yuan and Zhang Xiaobai's conversation and feeling Lin Yuan's intentions. After sensing that Lin Yuan wanted to interfere in this matter, she took a step forward and walked in front of Lin Yuan. Young master, do you want me to stop the All-Stars and get the Guild Alliance to investigate the Barbarian Snake Guild Club immediately? Zhang Xiaobai was originally immersed in all sorts of negative emotions. However, when he heard the female voice that suddenly appeared beside Lin Yuan, he almost couldn't breathe. Fuck, big sister, are you speaking human words? Aren't you being too pretentious? How could a competition like the All-Stars be stopped so casually? She even had to instruct the Guild Alliance to investigate. Zhang Xiaobai was very clear about what kind of organization the Guild Alliance was. How could the Guild Alliance listen to a single person's command and interfere with the All-Stars that the Guild Alliance had meticulously planned? Wasn't this the same as a person using a pair of scissors to cut his meticulously woven clothes? If Zhang Xiaobai didn't know Lin Yuan's identity as Black, and was Lin Yuan's comrade in arms who had gone through life and death with him, Zhang Xiaobai was afraid that he would turn around and leave at this moment, wanting to stay far away from the mental patient, Wen Yu. However, for some reason, Zhang Xiaobai felt that the girl's words just now had an indescribable air of nobility and matter of fact. It was as though it was extremely easy to say those words, as natural and simple as drinking water. The insensitive Zhang Xiaobai also came back to his senses and couldn't help but start to guess Lin Yuan's identity. At that moment, Zhang Xiaobai's cell phone rang. After Zhang Xiaobai picked up the phone, his expression became anxious. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Xiaobai hurriedly said, "Something happened at the treatment center. There's a situation at the treatment center. I need to go back and take a look." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan turned around and said to the people around him, "You guys go to the venue to watch the competition first. I will go to the treatment center with Zhang Xiaobai to take a look. When I come back, I will go straight to the seats to look for you guys." When Zhang Xiaobai heard Lin Yuan's words, his heart suddenly warmed up, and he couldn't help but pat Lin Yuan's shoulder hard. He shouted, "Good brother," and once again attracted the attention of the Radiant Light Palace's staff. After explaining to everyone, Lin Yuan and Zhang Xiaobai walked out of the Radiant Light Palace. On the other hand, the mother of Bloodbath was like a shadow that followed closely behind him. Along the way, Zhang Xiaobai's mood was still very heavy. Suddenly, he heard a strange and pleasant voice. "How do you think a kidney should be roasted to be delicious?" When Zhang Xiaobai saw that there was a person following Lin Yuan, he only thought that it was Lin Yuan's friend. As the person was wearing a silver mask, Zhang Xiaobai could only tell that it was a woman based on her hair. Zhang Xiaobai was a little curious. How did this woman know that I like to eat kidneys and has some research on it? Could it be that I have eaten too much and can tell from my face? The second one was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 613. On the soft feather unicorn's back, Lin Yuan was still thinking about Lu Pinru's soul injury. Soul injuries were extremely difficult to heal, and most of the things that could heal them were very precious. They were no longer in the category of ordinary spiritual ingredients. However, Lin Yuan happened to have something that could heal soul injuries. It was the cold snow pine's tree sap. However, the cold snow pine's tree sap could only be considered a half-finished product for healing soul injuries. It still needed to use pure fire elemental energy to roast the cold snow pine's sap into cold snow pine fragrance. Therefore, Lin Yuan was not worried that Lu Pinru would collapse due to the loss of her 5 senses. This time, Lin Yuan would follow Zhang Xiaobai to the treatment center because he wanted to heal Lu Pinru's soul injury as soon as possible. He wanted to let Lu Pinru suffer less. As for the 5 senses that had been stolen by the Steel Perception King Gu, Lin Yuan had 100 ways to help Xianing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran get them back. Upon hearing the mother of Bloodbath's question to Zhang Xiaobai, Lin Yuan knew that the mother of Bloodbath's gourmet habit was acting up again. Back in Millstone Town, the mother of Bloodbath had always been on his body. As a third party, the mother of Bloodbath had seen everything that had happened more clearly than Lin Yuan. Although Zhang Xiaobai did not know the mother of Bloodbath was very familiar with him. The mother of Bloodbath, who was passionate about food, was thinking about the kidney that Zhang Xiaobai had been saying was fragrant. Zhang Xiaobai's heart was heavy and he did not like to talk much. When it came to food, the mother of Bloodbath, which was usually a quiet person, became more talkative. This complementation allowed Zhang Xiaobai and the mother of Bloodbath to exchange their experiences and insights on the topic of the kidney. Lin Yuan shook his head. If the mother of Bloodbath really did as Zhang Xiaobai said and tried the tender kidney that was 30% ripe, Zhang Xiaobai would probably be beaten up by the mother of Bloodbath afterward. When they arrived at the treatment center, Zhang Xiaobai led Lin Yuan to Xianing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran, who were lying motionless on the bed as if they were in a deep sleep. Inside the treatment center, there was a woman holding a scepter, and a cage hung at the front of the scepter. There was a green butterfly in the cage. He was confronting an old man with messy clothes and a messy beard. Upon seeing Zhang Xiaobai come in, the old man with a messy beard shouted at him. "White kid, you asked me to help heal your phase-damaged roots. Now, you're looking for a healing-type spirit chi professional. What's the meaning of this? You don't believe in this old man's skills." Zhang Xiaobai hurriedly apologized to the disheveled old man with messy clothes and a black beard. "Sorry, Master Hong Shen. This is our team leader. When Zhang Xiaobai answered the phone, he heard Master Hong Xin say that someone was causing trouble in the treatment center and that he was not going to treat them. However, he didn't expect that the person who came would be Lady White Devil, who had spent a lot of money to terminate the contract with the Extreme Club. "Sister Daisy, why did you come to this place?" White Devil didn't immediately answer Zhang Xiaobai's question. Instead, she glared at the disheveled and unkempt god Hong Xin. "Old man, don't you recognize me?" Master Hong Xin rolled his eyes. "Motherfucker, you've asked me several times, who are you? Do I have to recognize you?" Just as Master Hong Xin finished speaking, he saw the strange woman who was carrying a cage on the street giggling at him before responding with a hee-hee sound. Sigh. Master Hong Xin's face immediately flushed with anger. God knew how much this narcissistic woman had taken advantage of his catchphrase. White Devil looked at Zhang Xiaobai apologetically and said, "I've heard about the four of you. I've heard about what happened to the four of you. If I hadn't terminated the contract with the Extreme Club, the four of you wouldn't have been replaced." Zhang Xiaobai quickly waved his hand and said, "I've heard about the four of you. It has nothing to do with senior sister." White Devil reached out and patted Zhang Xiaobai's shoulder. "If you want to play in the S tournament, you can still play for another 5 years at your age. I heard that you've also withdrawn from the Extreme Guild Club. It's a smart choice. Why don't you settle down for a year and find a suitable guild club to work hard? Don't be too caught up in the past. Let the past be the past." After speaking, White Devil didn't care about Zhang Xiaobai's reaction. She took out a bronze face storage box from the butterfly-shaped diamond face storage box in front of her chest and handed it to Zhang Xiaobai. "The lustrous weaver silkworm that you asked me to find should have used up all your savings. This face storage box contains the lustrous weaver silkworm that you asked me to find and the money you paid me in advance. Take it back first. You should be rather short of money now. You don't have to bother about the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's Mangsu. The all-star match will end today, and I will settle it tomorrow or the day after." After speaking, White Devil looked at the sleeping Lu Pinru with pity and left the infirmary. Zhang Xiaobai wasn't the only one who didn't expect to meet White Devil here. Even Lin Yuan didn't expect that one of the main characters of the duel that had set off his dream half a year ago would appear before him again. When he had watched White Devil and Unknown Flames duel, he had felt that White Devil was a very cold person. He didn't expect White Devil's personality to be the exact opposite of her personality. She was cheerful and gentle, even though this gentleness was only shown in action. However, it was also this gentleness that showed in action that White Devil was a very kind person. From Zhang Xiaobai's performance, Lin Yuan could see that Zhang Xiaobai and White Devil weren't very familiar. They were merely the main force members and reserve members of the same guild club. White Devil was the Radiance 100 sequence number 18 and had a transcendent status. However, she was very considerate towards the reserve members. Especially when Zhang Xiaobai and the others encountered difficulties, she was willing to lend a hand. Just at the end, when White Devil said that she would help settle the Barbarian Snake Guild's problem, it was the same as taking on a rather big problem for herself. All of a sudden, Master Hong Xin's originally relaxed expression changed. His entire body stiffened, and his hands tightly grabbed onto the corner of the table beside him. Bean-sized beads of sweat rolled down Master Hong Xin's forehead. Zhang Xiaobai clearly understood Master Hong Xin's situation and didn't panic. Instead, he took out a small medicine bottle from Master Hong Xin's pocket and poured out a pill to help Master Hong Xin put it into his mouth. Lin Yuan, who was 3 meters away from Master Hong Xin and Zhang Xiaobai, smelled a very bitter taste. At that moment, the mother of Bloodbath, who was beside Lin Yuan, spoke softly. "This old man's soul is so severely injured, but he is still able to hold on. How interesting." Part 3. Requesting monthly votes and recommendation votes. Love you guys, Mwax. End of this chapter. Chapter 614. When Lin Yuan heard that, he looked at the disheveled Master Hong Xin with surprise. When Lin Yuan had entered, he had noticed that Master Hong Shen was wearing a Class 3 Creation Master crest. Furthermore, the fourth star pattern on the Class 3 Creation Master's crest had risen, indicating that Master Hong Shen's Creation Master ability had reached the pinnacle of a Class 3 Creation Master. It could be said that Master Hong Shen had already reached the limits of a Creation Master when his soul spirit was injured. Only after a long while did Master Hong Shen recover from the intense pain. Master Hong Shen, who came back to his senses, picked up the cup on the table and gulped down the water in the cup before saying to Zhang Xiaobai, "Kid, I have healed the phase with damaged roots that you sent over. However, you can't owe me the money you owe me. As usual, if you don't have enough money, go dig some bitter fern roots for me when you're out on a mission." Upon hearing the words bitter fern root, Lin Yuan knew what the bitter smell was. It turned out that Master Hong Shen had been relying on the bitter taste of the bitter fern root to suppress the pain in his soul. This was also a good way to use one of the five senses, taste, to share the pain of the injured soul. If the tip of an ordinary person's tongue touched the root of the bitter fern, they would feel like they were chewing on coptis for a day. It could be said to be an inhuman torture. However, this kind of pain that ordinary people couldn't bear was actually a relief for people whose souls were injured. Lin Yuan saw that Master Hong Shen was calculating the treatment fees with Zhang Xiaobai. Lu Pinru's 4 lustrous weaver mulberry silkworms had been revived and were spitting out silk threads from their frames. He was about to see if he could rent a room from Master Hong Shen so that he could use the heavenly maiden-grade fire elemental pearls to roast the cold snow pine's tree sap into cold snow pine incense to heal Lu Pinru's soul injury. At that moment, Lin Yuan heard Master Hong Shen say to Zhang Xiaobai, "Get lost, kid. I'm tired. Next time you come, don't forget to dig up a good bitter fern root and bring it to me. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come." As he spoke, Master Hong Shen's expression turned ugly again. He hurriedly took out the medicine bottle from his bosom and poured out 2 pills made from the roots of the bitter fern and placed them in his mouth. To resist the pain coming from the depths of his soul, Lin Yuan said to Zhang Xiaobai, who was walking toward him, "Little White, go and rent a place from Master Hong Shen. I'll go and concoct the medicine to heal Lu Pinru's soul." When Zhang Xiaobai heard this, his face immediately showed a look of surprise. Zhang Xiaobai could feel how difficult it was to treat a soul injury just by looking at how Master Hong Shen had been suppressing it with the bitter fern root for so many years without being able to heal it. Originally, Zhang Xiaobai was prepared to wait for Xianing and Tan Ran to wake up before going on a mission to raise money and think of a solution for Lu Pinru. If he couldn't raise enough money in a year, he could always think of something after 5 or 10 years. However, he did not expect that Lin Yuan would actually make a move and solve this problem. All of a sudden, Zhang Xiaobai remembered that Lin Yuan was not only a healing class spirit chi professional but also a creation master. Just as Master Hong Shen was about to mock Lin Yuan, he saw the crystal bottle in Lin Yuan's hand. Master Hong Shen's eyes widened in shock. Master Hong Shen wasn't sure what the liquid in the bottle was, but he could tell that the liquid in the bottle was emitting an ice-cold and moist feeling. It had already suppressed the pain in the depths of Master Hong Shen's soul. After the pain disappeared, Master Hong Shen hurriedly spat out the bitter fern root pill that had yet to melt and cursed. "It's really fucking bitter." Zhang Xiaobai was just about to discuss with Master Hong Shen about renting a room in the treatment center when Master Hong Shen's eyes lit up and he took small steps to Lin Yuan's side. "Little handsome brother, can you sell some of the liquid in the bottle to this old man?" "I'll do anything you want me to do." Lin Yuan looked at Master Hong Shen strangely. Lin Yuan rarely came out, and even if he had outstanding looks, there were almost no opportunities for people to call him little handsome brother. However, now that an old man was calling him little handsome brother with greedy eyes, Lin Yuan felt his hair stand up. Especially the last sentence, "I'll do anything you want me to do." It made Lin Yuan rather puzzled. Is he really allowed to do anything? You're already so old. Don't tell me you still have some tricks up your sleeves. When Master Hong Shen saw that Lin Yuan wasn't moved after hearing his request and was only looking at him in astonishment, Master Hong Shen immediately became anxious. He stared at the bottle in Lin Yuan's hand and reached out to snatch it. At this moment, Master Hongshan felt a chilling pressure pressing down on him, making it difficult for him to breathe. The chilling pressure only appeared for a moment before it was withdrawn. Master Hongshan glanced fearfully at the woman who was looking at him with a sneer on her face. He then recalled that he had to be tortured by the intense pain in his soul several times a day. Clenching his teeth, he spoke. If you are willing to sell some of the liquid in the bottle to this old man so that this old man can suppress the damage to his soul, then you can choose any of this old man's wealth. If you can completely heal this old man's soul injury, this old man is willing to work for you. After speaking, Master Hongshan brushed aside his messy beard and removed a black ring-shaped diamond face storage box that was wrapped in his beard. He solemnly held the black ring-shaped face storage box in his hand and handed it to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan looked at the expression on Master Hongshan's face and thought of the pain he had suffered after his soul trauma flared up. It was as though he suddenly understood why a creation master would be willing to use freedom as a bargaining chip. Lin Yuan shook the milky blue liquid in the bottle and said, "That's right. This is the sap of a suzerain/myth 2 cold snow pine. What do you have that you can trade with me?" When the mother of bloodbaths saw Lin Yuan speak, its eyes flashed with a bright gaze. He knew that Lin Yuan was already coveting this disheveled old man with messy clothes and a black beard. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Master Hongshan's face sank. He glanced at the black ring on his hand and put it away. Master Hongshan took a step back and looked at Lin Yuan solemnly. "I might be a pinnacle class 3 creation master now, but I have been stuck at it for 15 years. I believe that after my soul spirit recovers, I will be able to grasp the method to use my soul spirit power to concoct the spirit fluid. In less than half a month, I will be able to become a class 4 creation master." Speaking up to this point, Master Hongshan tidied up his messy clothes before continuing. "This old man is willing to offer all of my freedom to you, and swear on the willpower rune to become your follower." The first one was even worse. End of chapter. Chapter 6:15. Master Hongshan didn't hesitate to throw out all his chips. As a person who had to endure pain, it wasn't easy to see a way to get rid of the pain. Naturally, he would want to grab it with all his might. It was like a person who saw light in the darkness and was touched by the light. How would he be willing to retreat into the abyss behind him? When Lin Yuan heard Master Hongshan's words, his eyes lit up. Lin Yuan was originally only planning to take advantage of Master Hongshan. In Lin Yuan's subconscious, it was almost impossible for a creation master to swear a willpower rune to follow him. However, Lin Yuan didn't expect Master Hongshan to self-destruct right after he started to take advantage of him. Master Hongshan had placed everything he could on the table for Lin Yuan to enjoy. According to Master Hongshan was only a step away from becoming a Class 4 creation master. If Master Hongshan could successfully become a Class 4 creation master after healing his soul injury, Sky City would have a true Class 4 creation master overseeing it. As for becoming a Class 4 creation master in a short time, Lin Yuan wasn't sure if Master Hongshan was telling the truth. Regardless of whether it was true or not, it didn't matter to Lin Yuan. Master Hongshan was only a pinnacle Class 3 creation master, and Lin Yuan was already willing to use the rosin from the cold snow pines tree sap as an investment. The cold snow pines tree sap could heal soul injuries, and it was a treasure that was hard to find. In Lin Yuan's heart, the cold snow pines tree sap was a kind of collector's item, and it was considered Lin Yuan's trump card. Given Lin Yuan's stingy character, he would never sell such a trump card in his hands. If he could exchange it for a long-term pinnacle Class 3 creation master's labor, it would be worth it. Even if Master Hongshan didn't become a Class 4 creation master within a short time after his soul was healed, it didn't matter. A pinnacle Class 3 creation master's ability to upgrade phase grades was enough to solve Lin Yuan's current urgent need. A creation master's strength required constant use of spiritual ingredients to concoct spirit liquids and long-term accumulation. Lin Yuan's workload as a creation master was very huge. Putting aside everything else, just the 20 supreme-grade immortal fish and the angel fish of bliss that were about to give birth to their young would require Master Hong Shen to upgrade them to gold. With such a huge workload, Master Hong Shen would probably become even more diligent than Hu Quan. Lin Yuan believed that even if Master Hong Shen was a fool with an IQ of -50,000, he would still be able to familiarize himself with the heavy workload and comprehend the method to use soul spirit power to concoct spirit fluids to become a Class 4 creation master. Since Master Hong Shen would become his follower in the future, there were some things that he had to say first. You are a pinnacle Class 3 creation master, so you should know the price of the cold snow white pine sap. If I accept you as my follower, you will have to work hard for me to show your value. As Lin Yuan spoke, the mother of Bloodbath looked at him with appreciation. As a spider species Fae, the mother of Bloodbath had always been cold-blooded on its advancement path and had killed countless Faes. Therefore, the mother of Bloodbath could understand Lin Yuan's willingness to use the cold snow pine's tree sap to heal Lu Pinru. They were comrades who had gone through life and death together. However, he felt that Lin Yuan was too willing to pay with his hard-earned capital. When the mother of Bloodbath heard Lin Yuan's request to this slovenly old man in front of it, the mother of Bloodbath knew that when Lin Yuan was giving, there was always a scale weighing in his heart. However, the weight of feelings in Lin Yuan's heart was much higher than that of ordinary people. It was also because of this that the cold-blooded mother of Bloodbath had unknowingly acknowledged Lin Yuan. When Master Hong Shen spoke earlier, he was very apprehensive. A pinnacle Class 3 creation master might come into contact with suzerain spiritual ingredients. However, after a suzerain Fae became a myth breed, its spiritual ingredient was not something that a pinnacle Class 3 creation master could come into contact with. Furthermore, it was a myth 2 suzerain Fae that could heal the soul. When all his trump cards were placed on the table, Master Hong Shen, who had always thought that he was good, felt for the first time that he was not worthy of using the cold snow pine sap. If this youth was willing to use 5 drops of the cold snow pine's tree sap to find a Class 4 creation master to work for him, it should not be a problem to hire a mid-grade Class 4 creation master for 2 months. Therefore, Master Hong Shen knew that his only competitive factor was loyalty. Master Hong Shen's loyalty was what Lin Yuan needed the most. The golden lotus brocade stock that Lin Yuan had mutated from the flower brocade pearls was a huge treasure, and if he wanted to nurture it, he would need the labor of a creation master. The benefits involved in nurturing such a precious mutated Fae population were too great. Without the restriction of the willpower rune oath, Lin Yuan would not be at ease. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Master Hong Shen revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. Master Hong Shen understood that this youth had already agreed to his request and just wanted to squeeze out his labor. As compared to the soul pain that he had to endure every day, squeezing out his labor was simply a kind of enjoyment. Master Hong Shen had lived for so many years and was already a half-buried person. He naturally understood the principle that the more effort he put in, the more rewards he would receive. The busier he was, the more helpful it would be for his creation master's strength. The stronger his creation master's strength was, the more attention he would receive from this youth. It was a virtuous cycle that required him to put in hard work. Alright, as long as you can let me rest for 8 hours every day, I can work for 16 hours. Master Hong Shen gritted his teeth and said, I can also contract a vitality sloth. I can also form a contract with a vitality sloth. That way, I can extend my working hours. Lin Yuan hurriedly waved his hand and said, there's no need for a vitality sloth. There's no need for the vitality sloth. You don't have to be so busy working here. However, you still have to guarantee 12 hours of working time. After Master Hong Shen's soul injury was healed, he had to swear on the willpower rune to become Lin Yuan's follower. That would be equivalent to being on Lin Yuan's side. In order for Master Hong Shen to better display his value, Lin Yuan was also planning to pour resources into him. Naturally, he would not let Master Hong Shen contract a useless Fae like the Vitality Sloth that had no limits and could be contracted by anyone. Lin Yuan had a headache about Hu Quan contracting the Vitality Sloth. He originally wanted to ask Hu Quan if there were any fays suitable for a spirit craftsman that he wanted to contract. In the end, Hu Quan had secretly contracted the vitality sloth in order to be able to work hard. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 6:16. However, this was Hu Quan's own choice, so Lin Yuan could not interfere too much. When Zhang Bai saw everything from Lin Yuan's side, he felt that this world was simply too magical. Why did Master Hong Shen, who had always been ill-tempered, turn into a crazy bootlicker and want to follow Lin Yuan after he took out this bottle of milky blue tree sap? Master Hong Shen was a pinnacle class 3 creation master. At the same time, Zhang Bai looked at Lin Yuan with indescribable gratitude. It was something that could make pinnacle class 3 creation masters give up their dignity and be willing to exchange loyalty and freedom. Lin Yuan casually wanted to let Lu Pinru use it. Given Zhang Bai's understanding of Lin Yuan, if it weren't for Master Hong Shen's bootlicking, Lin Yuan wouldn't have been able to survive. Zhang Bai felt that even after Lu Pinru's soul injury was healed, Lin Yuan would not mention the value of this bottle of milky blue tree sap. Master Hong Shen eagerly poured out his treatment center's workshop for Lin Yuan. When Lin Yuan walked to the entrance of Master Hong Shen's workshop, he saw all sorts of spiritual ingredients and used potions piled up in a disorderly manner. It was abnormally dirty and messy. Even the air was still filled with the strange smell of a variety of spiritual materials. There was an obvious bitterness in this smell, which should be the smell of bitter fern and fern. Master Hong Shen looked at Lin Yuan awkwardly and smiled. "I'm used to being rude. But don't worry, sir. I'll do my best to tidy up the studio when I work at your place." Lin Yuan looked at Master Hong Shen skeptically. How could it be so easy to change one's nature and habits formed over many years? Presumably, when Master Hong Shen went to the manor, when you, the housekeeper of the manor, would have a headache about the hygiene of Master Hong Shen's studio. Master Hong Shen asked with a grin when he saw Lin Yuan ignore him and enter the workshop. "Sir, do you need help? If you need help, this old man can come in and be Master's assistant, or even help Master operate it." Master Hong Shen didn't sign a contract with him, but Lin Yuan realized that Master Hong Shen was already yelling at him. When Lin Yuan came out this time, there was a Class 2 Creation Master crest hanging on his chest. Lin Yuan noticed that Master Hong Shen's eyes were sneaking glances at the Class 2 Creation Master crest on his chest from time to time, and there was a hint of worry hidden in his eyes. Lin Yuan smiled in his heart. Master Hong Shen wanted to enter the workshop to be Jiang Yi's assistant. Was it because Jiang Yi was a Class 2 Creation Master and was afraid that Jiang Yi would fail and waste the cold snow pines tree sap? "Since you want to come in, then come in. I'm not afraid of being disturbed when concocting the frigid snow pines tree sap." Master Hong Shen panicked. Master Hong Shen didn't know how Lin Yuan was going to concoct the cold snow pines spirit fluid. However, it was common knowledge that a creation master would fail if they were slightly distracted when concocting the spirit fluid. As a creation master, Master Hong Shen understood how terrifying the external interference was when concocting the spirit fluid. Lin Yuan was a Class 2 creation master at such a young age, and Master Hong Shen was now considered half a follower of Lin Yuan. Once Lin Yuan healed his soul injury, he could immediately sign a follower contract with Lin Yuan. Therefore, Master Hong Shen didn't dare to say anything to Lin Yuan. However, Master Hong Shen really wanted to grab Master Lin's collar and ask him how he taught his disciple. Before Master Hong Shen could continue speaking, Lin Yuan had already taken out a box that emitted a jade-like luster. Master Hong Shen could not help but blurt out, "A completely jade-textured parasol wood box." As soon as Master Hong Shen spoke, he immediately shut up awkwardly. However, Master Hong Shen realized that Lin Yuan didn't seem to be affected at all. Instead, he poured the cold snow pines tree sap into the completely jade-textured parasol wood box. Among the various wood-type spiritual ingredients, the jade-textured parasol wood was abnormally compatible with the fire element. Under normal circumstances, the pure fire element wouldn't ignite the completely jade-textured parasol wood. Instead, it would nourish the completely jade-textured parasol wood like spirit chi. Lin Yuan didn't have a ready-made completely jade-textured parasol wood. This parasol wood box was cut from the parasol wood rack in the Spirit Lock spatial zone a few days ago. It was so that he could use it when calcining the cold snow pines tree sap. However, he didn't expect that this completely jade-textured parasol wood box would come in handy not long after it was created. Lin Yuan looked at the milky blue cold snow pines tree sap rippling in the completely jade-textured parasol wood box. Lin Yuan shook his hand and took out 10-9 purity Australian maiden-grade fire elemental pearls. Most of the elemental pearls produced by the Bronze Legacy elemental shellfish in the Spirit Lock spatial zone contained beads. However, due to the large number of elemental pearls accumulated, there were also some heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls without beads. The price of heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls with beads was far more expensive than those without beads. Therefore, when consuming heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls, Lin Yuan would be thrifty and choose to consume them without beads. Lin Yuan threw one of the elemental pearls into the parasol wood box. The instant the heavenly maiden-grade fire elemental pearl was thrown into the parasol wood box, the dark red parasol wood box with wooden patterns was as bright as a red crystal and emitted a red haze that looked like a fire cloud. At the same time, the milky blue tree sap was released with pure fire elemental energy from the heavenly maiden-grade fire elemental pearl. It ignited a mixture of azure blue and crimson flames of hot and cold colors. Lin Yuan thought to himself. As expected, I prepared a completely jade-textured parasol would see in advance. Otherwise, if it had been another container, it would have already exploded under the extreme cold and extreme heat flames. However, for the completely jade-textured parasol wood box, the extreme cold and hot flames were not considered a burden. No matter what kind of flames it was, they were all fire elements and would only have a nourishing effect on the completely jade-textured parasol wood box. After the first fire elemental pearl was completely consumed, Lin Yuan threw in the second fire elemental pearl. Lin Yuan threw in the second fire elemental pearl and kept the ice blue and scarlet flames burning at the same time. In the beginning, the cold snow pine tree sap's ice blue flames had been suppressing the crimson flames released by the fire elemental pearls. As the fire elemental pearls continued to be thrown in, the situation grew. Slowly, the crimson flames released by the heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls were about to suppress the cold snow pine tree sap's ice blue flames. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan's speed of throwing in the heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls slowed down. Instead, he crushed the heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls and added the powder bit by bit. From the moment Lin Yuan took out the heavenly maiden-grade fire elemental pearls, Master Hong Shen had been watching Lin Yuan's godly operation with his mouth wide open. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 617. Following Lin Yuan's operation, the increasingly dense pine fragrance dispersed all the strange smells in the workshop. The workshop's aura was like a newly born pine sprout under a 100-meter layer of snow. The scent of the pine sprout lingered in his nose, and he felt as though his fingers had pierced through the layer of snow and fallen into a world full of cedars. The pine sprout's fragrance made Master Hong Shen feel as though his soul was constantly being comforted, and it was abnormally comfortable. Thus, Master Hong Shen's mouth had been wide open for a long time. Instead, he used the two holes on his nose and mouth to crazily suck in the pine sprout's fragrance. The wonderful feeling of his soul being comforted made Master Hong Shen involuntarily intoxicated. At that moment, as Lin Yuan added in the fire elemental pearl powder, the cold snow pine sap, which was getting increasingly blue, instantly looked as though all the blue color had vanished along with the last wisp of ice flame. When the ice blue ice flame vanished, the scarlet flame was also extinguished. The moment the two types of flames vanished, the cold snow pine sap's milky blue tree sap instantly turned into black powder. Lin Yuan's lips curled into a smile. The pine smoke is like ink, and the ink has a sense of pine. Cold snow pine fragrance, done. Lin Yuan didn't pour the cold snow pine sap out of the parasol wood box into the crystal bottle. Instead, he covered the parasol wood box. He used the completely jade-textured parasol wood box as a container to store the cold snow pine sap. The completely jade-textured parasol wood was nourished by the fire element and contained the aura of 2 types of flames, which could be used to nourish the cold snow pine sap. Lin Yuan turned around and saw Master Hongshan frantically inhaling the cold snow pine sap like a huge hippopotamus. He walked to Master Hongshan's side with a smile. He took out a silver spoon from the amber button-shaped diamond face storage box and used it to gently scoop up a bit of the cold snow pine sap that had been calcined into black powder. Lin Yuan used the most ordinary flame to ignite the black powder inside the silver spoon and placed the silver spoon on Master Hongshan's nose. The smoke was sucked into Master Hongshan's nose and reached the depths of his soul. The pine spring-like fragrance warmed the soul. At this point, the soul injury that had tormented Master Hongshan for decades was healed. After Master Hongshan woke up from his intoxication, it was as though he didn't know how Lin Yuan had ignited the cold snow pine sap. However, when Master Hongshan sensed that his soul was extremely relaxed, he knew that his damaged soul had completely recovered. Master Hongshan looked at Lin Yuan with gratitude and knelt on one knee. With a wave of his hand, a willpower rune, which he had clearly comprehended from plants, revolved around Master Hongshan's finger. With Master Hongshan's devout vow, he finally became Lin Yuan's follower. Master Hongshan, who was kneeling on one knee, suddenly felt puzzled. Logically speaking, after his soul spirit had recovered, he should have become a healthy Pinnacle Class 3 Creation Master and could become a Class 4 Creation Master at any time. Wherever he went, he would be able to make a name for himself and enjoy life wantonly. But why didn't she hesitate when she swore with the willpower rune to become this young man's follower? Looking at the bright smile on the young man's face, Master Hongshan, who had become Kiran's follower, lowered his head respectfully. Master Hongshan knew that if it wasn't for this youth in front of him, he would probably have to endure the pain and torment brought about by the trauma to his soul for the rest of his life. Everything that happened in this short period of time was like an accident in the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint. From Master Hongshan's point of view, this accident was also his redemption. Lin Yuan reached out and helped Master Hongshan, who was kneeling on one knee, up. Master Hongshan had now completely become Lin Yuan's follower. When Master Hongshan had summoned the willpower rune, Lin Yuan couldn't help but raise his brows in surprise. Lin Yuan could feel that the willpower rune that Master Hongshan had comprehended must have been comprehended from plants. This was because the willpower rune's rich plant vitality could not be faked. However, the willpower rune that Master Hongshan had comprehended from plants also contained an obvious bloodthirsty and murderous aura. This made Lin Yuan involuntarily think of the willpower rune that he had comprehended from his spiritual spatial zone ever since he had comprehended it. It was the willpower rune that he had comprehended under Extreme Massacre. The 2 willpower runes' murderous auras were too similar. If one had to carefully distinguish them, one would be able to distinguish some differences. The willpower rune that Lin Yuan had comprehended had a murderous aura that was close to madness. As for the slovenly Master Duan Li's willpower rune, it had a murderous aura that was close to elegance. Lin Yuan pondered silently. Such a willpower rune was obviously not suitable for those fays that assisted creation masters and raised their standards. Instead, it was more suitable for powerful combat class fays. Master Hongshan, can you show me your contracted fey? If it had been someone else speaking to Master Hongshan like this, Master Hongshan would probably have given that person a slap. It was a very rude thing for spirit chi professionals to ask about each other's contracted fays. It was considered a taboo. It was the same as using a trick to not show off one's trump card. However, Master Hongshan had already set his position as Lin Yuan's follower. Not only did Master Hongshan not feel that there was anything wrong with Lin Yuan's question, but he was also very happy. With a wave of his hand, he summoned his contracted fey. In Master Hongshan's opinion, Lin Yuan's question was equivalent to his concern. Master Hongshan was abnormally confident in his fays. At the same time, Master Hongshan treated this display of his fey as an opportunity. Lin Yuan saw Master Hongshan raise his hand, and a mass of purplish-black energy halo circulated. Immediately after, this mass of purplish-black light grew bigger and bigger, as though it had opened up a purplish-black domain. In the center of the domain, a lush succulent plant that was over 1 meter tall appeared. When Lin Yuan saw the Fae that Master Hong Shen had summoned, he immediately looked at Master Hong Shen in shock. It seemed like he didn't just obtain a follower with the abilities of a Pinnacle Class 3 Creation Master. At the same time, this follower with the abilities of a Pinnacle Class 3 Creation Master was also a Pinnacle King Class Combat Class Spirit Chi Professional. Even though Master Hong Shen had only comprehended one willpower rune, his contracted fantasy breed Fae was simply too powerful. Lin Yuan really didn't know how many resources Master Hong Shen had poured in to nurture such a Fae to such a degree. Lin Yuan felt that he had truly made a huge profit by recruiting a follower like Master Hong Shen. While looking at the fantasy breed Fae in front of him, he was secretly shocked. Lin Yuan also started to use Morbius True data to check on the Fae's attributes. After taking a look, Lin Yuan realized that Master Hong Shen's contracted fantasy breed Fae was much stronger than he had expected. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 618. Fae name, Black Copper Pot Mage, Fae species, Crassulaceae/Lotus Palm, Fae grade, Diamond, 10 out of 10, Fae type, Dark, Fae quality, Fantasy IV abilities Frowny Face Lotus Palm Black Bullet, each flower core can rapidly gather dark energy and form a dark-type energy bomb with strong adhesion and corrosiveness. Split Fragment Bullet, when the Lotus Palm Black Bullets collide, they will shatter, and the shattered energy will form an energy bomb with the Lotus Palm Black Bullet's structure again. Lotus Palm Puppet, the Black Copper Pot Mage will store the dark-type Fae skeleton in the flower head. When the flower head falls, the flower head will spit out the nurtured Fae skeleton and burn the energy in the flower head to control the skeleton. Reserve young roots, the Black Copper Pot Mages will form 4 seeds near their roots. Each seed will quickly release the energy within the seed after leaving the mother's body, forming a Black Copper Pot Mage with the same strength as the mother. When the energy within the seed is exhausted, the Black Copper Pot Mage born from the seed will immediately wither. Old Copper Stem Stump, the Black Copper Pot Mage will absorb too much dark-type energy at night and store it in the old copper stem stump. Copper Pot Disintegration, the Black Copper Pot Mage will only leave one flower head and sacrifice all the other flower heads to release a Lotus Palm Black Bullet that contains the sacrificed flower head's energy. Exclusive skill Frowny Face Darkness Essence, the body will extract the dark energy and increase the purity of the body's dark energy. Dark Slaughter, when the target is killed, the death aura produced at the moment of the target's death will give back a certain amount of dark energy to the Black Copper Pot Mage. The Black Copper Pot Mage was a succulent plant species Fae, the Black Wizard, that had gone through constant mutation and evolution. Lin Yuan was abnormally familiar with the Black Wizard. At that time, in Redbud City's Xia region Fae store, apart from raising some production-type Faes, the Usneas, the Jasmine Lily and the Green Wizard. The succulent plant species Fae, the Black Wizard, was almost the same as the Green Wizard. The Green Wizard was a pure poison-type attack method, while the Black Wizard used dark-type energy as its main attack method. The reason Lin Yuan did not sell the Black Wizard in the Fae store was that he felt it was useless compared to the Green Wizard at normal. The reason why Lin Yuan did not sell Black Wizards in the Fae store was that he felt that compared to Green Wizards, Black Wizards were simply useless at normal. Even if Green Mages weren't very useful, they could still poison a few flies to death when they were normal rank. It could be considered as a simple pest control for the room. Meanwhile, the darkness energy emitted by a dark mage at the normal rank was so powerful that even a mosquito could not push it away. Be it the Jasmine Lily, the Green Mage or the Black Mage. These 3 meaty plant Faes could be considered the Faes with the lowest bottom line. As long as anyone in the Radiance Federation was willing to work hard and earn 500 Federation dollars, they would be able to buy a pot of Black Wizard. However, very few Spirit Chi professionals were willing to contract Black Mages. It was just like how no healing-type Spirit Chi professional was willing to form a contract with the Jasmine Lily. Naturally, it was fair. A lower limit meant a higher limit. Just like Lin Yuan's Jasmine Lily. After pouring in a huge amount of resources, just the normal ability, heal, coupled with the exclusive skills, life imprint, and severed connection, was not inferior to other healing type Fays of the same grade and quality. However, it would consume a lot of resources to evolve and mutate a Fey with a low bottom line. It was just like filling up a bottomless pit. Lin Yuan really didn't expect that someone in this world would be willing to upgrade a black wizard to the black copper pot wizard's strength and level. It was reasonable to say that even if some spirit chi professionals had a poor family background and a low starting point. After these spirit chi professionals accumulated a certain amount of resources, they would definitely purchase a relatively good Fey. Then, they would quickly change their main Fey. Instead, it would be a stubborn nurtured black wizard. When Master Hongshan summoned the black copper pot wizard, Lin Yuan saw that there were hundreds of flower heads on it. He was certain that when Master Hongshan was nurturing the black copper pot wizard, it had undergone a group mutation. It was just like the mutation that occurred when the jasmine lily evolved into a fantasy breed. However, when the jasmine lily evolved into a fantasy breed, apart from the group mutation, it had also undergone a fasciation mutation. Lin Yuan looked at the number of flower heads and was certain that the black copper pot wizard had reached Diamond X. However, Lin Yuan didn't expect Master Hongshan's black copper pot wizard to also reach Fantasy 4. Master Hongshan's strength could be considered outstanding among pinnacle king-class experts. Furthermore, the black copper pot wizard's combination of abilities and exclusive skills could be said to be simple and violent. The normal ability, Black Lotus Palm Bomb, could produce dark-type energy bombs with strong adhesion and corrosiveness. It could be considered a kind of violent continuous single-target damage. The elite ability, Split Fragment Bomb, gave the black copper pot wizard a group attack effect. Together with the gold ability, Reserve Young Roots, it could expand the black copper pot wizard's group attack range. At the same time, the 4 seeds of the gold ability, Reserve Young Roots, grew 4 black copper pot wizard child ramets, which was equivalent to multiplying the black copper pot wizard's group attack ability. This allowed the black copper pot mages to adjust the range and power of their spells as they pleased during group attacks. The diamond ability, Copper Pot Disintegration, was also considered an outstanding burst ability. The platinum ability, Old Copper Pot Stake, was equivalent to providing the black copper pot wizard with a container full of dark energy. During the battle, the black copper pot wizard could freely use the dark energy in the container to squander. The black copper pot wizard's only special ability was the silver ability, Lotus Palm Puppet. When the silver ability was at a low grade, its ability might not be very obvious. However, as the black copper pot wizard became stronger, the dark-type Fey skeleton that it could control would also become stronger. It would also play a greater role in the battle. To a certain extent, the silver ability, Lotus Palm Puppet, could be considered to increase the black copper pot wizard's mobility. The Lotus Palm Puppet was different according to the dark-type Fey skeleton that it controlled. Some dark-type Fey skeletons could also be used for control or defense. It was tantamount to increasing the black copper pot wizard's combat style. Lin Yuan could not help but suddenly think of the dark-eyed scorpion tiger and dark spirit eye tadpole in his diamond face storage box, where the sacred source life form, Sacred Sword Hugging Queen, had extracted their willpower runes. The dark-eyed scorpion tiger's spiritual ingredients were precious because of its blood, fur, and several dark eyes on its head. The dark spirit eye tadpole's spiritual ingredients were precious because of the mucus on its body surface and the gelatinous substance in its head. After the mother of Bloodbath finished dividing the dark-eyed scorpion tiger and dark spirit eye tadpole, the skeleton could be given to Master Hongshan to use. The first was even better. End of this chapter. Chapter 620. When Master Hongshan sensed Lin Yuan's Law of Darkness aura, it was as though he had seen a ghost. Master Hongshan had seen Emperor-class experts and myth-breed Fays with law runes before. However, the law power of those Emperor-class experts and myth-breed Fays could not be compared to Lin Yuan's law runes. Each law rune's law power was relatively singular. However, the dark energy rising from Lin Yuan's body was like the fog under the fading night, and the fog revealed hidden dangers. This was obviously not an aura that a single law rune could emit. Master Hongshan did not think that Lin Yuan would be very strong based on his age. Now that he used his spiritual energy to probe Lin Yuan's strength, he realized that his spiritual energy seemed to be blinded by something and could not be seen clearly. Master Hongshan swallowed his saliva and could not help but guess that the youth he had just pledged allegiance to was an emperor-class expert with multiple law runes. He had just heard Master Hongshan talk about finding emperor-class experts and myth-breed phase with the law of darkness to help transform Medusa. Lin Yuan immediately recalled what his master, the Moon Empress, had said about Medusa's knowledge. After a Medusa absorbed the first wisp of elemental energy to determine its attribute, it was not impossible to change it. It just needed to be guided by the elemental law power. Lin Yuan's sacred source life form, the sacred sword embracing queen, had absorbed 2 complete darkness-type law runes and 2 darkness-type willpower runes willpower. As a result, the princess's silk dress had almost turned into a black dress through and through. As long as Master Hongshan's poison-type Medusa stayed with the sacred sword embracing queen more often, it would be affected by the 2 darkness-type laws and willpower. Due to the influence of the 2 darkness-type laws and willpower on the skirt, its attribute should soon change. Master Hongshan felt that today was his lucky day. Not only did he solve the big problem that had been troubling him for a long time, but he had also solved it. Not only had he solved the big problem that had been troubling him, but even the small problem that had been frustrating him had been perfectly resolved. While he was surprised by Lin Yuan's law of darkness, Master Hongshan was also delighted. He carefully asked Lin Yuan, "Young master, are you an emperor-class expert?" Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan immediately knew that Master Hongshan had sensed the surging law power around him. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan immediately knew that Master Hongshan had sensed the surging law power around him. After the queen's skirt had absorbed the power of the laws and willpower, it had produced a shielding effect, causing others to be unable to check his spirit chi professional rank. However, Lin Yuan didn't give Master Hongshan an answer. This was also the first time Lin Yuan had used the sacred source life form, sacred sword embracing queen, Luo Kun's law and will. Lin Yuan realized that he seemed to be quite bluffing. However, if he didn't use the function of the holy sword mode, the surging rule power in his body was nothing more than a paper tiger. Other than scaring people, there was no practical effect. However, when Lin Yuan saw the black copper pot mage, who was visibly fearful after activating the dark-type law and will on the princess dress, even the flower head was a little listless. Lin Yuan thought to himself, this kind of scaring effect seems to be pretty good. Leave your Medusa with me. When Wizard Medusa transforms from the poison element to the dark element, I'll give her to you. Master Hongshan hurriedly handed the Medusa to Lin Yuan in excitement. If it had been someone else, Master Hongshan would not have handed over Wizard Medusa. After all, Master Hongshan had yet to make a contract with such a precious Medusa. If someone else were to trade or contract the Medusa after taking it away, Master Hongshan would suffer a great loss. However, Master Hongshan did not have any concerns with Lin Yuan. As Lin Yuan's follower, Master Hongshan was already considered Lin Yuan's private property to a certain extent. Master Hongshan understood that if Lin Yuan wanted this Medusa, he could just ask for it from him. Master Hongshan had no way of rejecting it. Moreover, Lin Yuan was even willing to use such a precious suzerain/myth breed spiritual ingredient to heal the soul. Naturally, he would not deceive his Medusa. Lin Yuan stored the Medusa in the face storage box and left the workshop with Master Hongshan. Lin Yuan scooped a little cold cedar incense powder with a silver spoon and lit it on Lu Pinru's nose like when he had treated Master Hongshan. However, since Lu Pinru was unconscious, she could not quickly inhale the smoke from the cold cedar incense into her nose. Lin Yuan circulated his spirit chi and used it to drive the air flow to inject the smoke from the cold cedar incense into Lu Pinru's body through her nose. Although Lu Pinru was still sleeping quietly like before, as the pine smoke entered her body, Lu Pinru's soul injury had completely recovered. She no longer had to endure the intense pain from her soul when she had lost all 5 senses. After treating Lu Pinru, Lin Yuan turned to Master Hong Shen and said, Master Hong Shen, help me take care of my 3 friends in the treatment center first. Master Hong Shen, please help me take care of my 3 friends in the treatment center first. Give me a call when my 3 friends wake up so that I can arrange a place for you to go. As he spoke, Lin Yuan gave his number to Master Hong Shen. Then, Lin Yuan, the mother of Bloodbath, and Zhang Xiaobai left Master Hong Shen's treatment center and rushed back to the Radiant Light Palace, where the all-star match was being held. Using the cold snow pines tree sap to concoct the cold cedar incense was a delicate task. He had to let the cold snow pines tree sap naturally change under the pure fire element. It took Lin Yuan nearly 3 hours to complete the task. As a result, it was already past noon. The all-star exhibition match should be almost over by now. Zhang Xiaobai had 2 huge stones pressing on his heart before coming, so he was not in the mood to chat with the mother of Bloodbath. He had restrained 90% of his talkative and cheerful nature. Now that Lu Pinru's soul injury had been healed by Lin Yuan, and White Devil had said that she would help Xianing and Lu Pinru recover their 5 senses from the sense control King Gu tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Zhang Xiaobai, who had the 2 big stones in his heart lifted, completely erupted with his talkative and cheerful nature. Perhaps because he had been suppressed for a long time, Zhang Xiaobai, who had released his nature, started to talk incessantly. This caused the mother of Bloodbath, who had been chatting happily with Zhang Xiaobai, to be unable to stand him. Zhang Xiaobai rode on the soft-feathered scaled bird's back and shouted at Lin Yuan and the mother of Bloodbath, who were riding on the other 2 soft-feathered scaled birds. Let me, Zhang Xiaobai, see if you're smart. I'll give you a brain teaser, okay? Lin Yuan had seen Zhang Xiaobai's brain teasers before. When he heard Zhang Xiaobai's question, he didn't want to reply. However, the mother of Bloodbath's interest was piqued. Even 10 of you combined wouldn't be as smart as me. I can guess your brain teaser in one go. The first one was even better. End of this chapter. Chapter 621. When Zhang Xiaobai heard that his intelligence was being questioned, he immediately became indignant. You say you're smart. Then let me ask you, what kind of natural phenomenon can an old monk flip through scriptures create? Lin Yuan originally did not want to participate, but when he heard Zhang Xiaobai's question, his mind started to think uncontrollably. However, no matter how he thought, he had no clue. The mother of Bloodbath frowned and pondered. Zhang Xiaobai's question had really stumped the mother of Bloodbath, which had been focusing on delicacies ever since it transformed into a human. Zhang Xiaobai saw that no one could guess it and did not give Lin Yuan and the mother of Bloodbath a chance to think about it. He said with a grin. It's scripture reading, idiot. As soon as Zhang Xiaobai said that, Lin Yuan choked on his saliva. The mother of Bloodbath also knew that Zhang Xiaobai had always been very naughty, so it resisted the urge to kick him off the soft-feathered scale bird's back. However, the mother of Bloodbath secretly released a trace of its myth-breed phase pressure along the way, causing the soft-feathered scaled bird to fly up and down. Zhang Xiaobai, who wasn't afraid of heights, was also shocked by the sudden change. His teeth were chattering, and he couldn't say a word. Lin Yuan watched as the soft-feathered scaled bird carrying Zhang Xiaobai suddenly fell from a height of 500 meters to 100 meters and rapidly rose from 100 meters to 400 meters. He felt that this was much more exciting than the skydiving machines he had seen in his previous life. By the time the 3 soft feather-scaled birds landed in the Radiant Light Palace, the mother of Bloodbath was torturing the soft feather-scaled bird that Zhang Xiaobai was riding on. Even with the soft-feathered bird's strong physique, it was still lying there listlessly, as if it had been hollowed out. Although Zhang Xiaobai was a little scared by the soft-feathered scaled bird's sudden movements in the beginning, he was still a little scared. But when he felt the feeling of using it up and down, Zhang Xiaobai was in high spirits. At this time, after getting off the back of the soft-feathered bird, Zhang Xiaobai licked his lips. It was as if he wanted to experience this continuous feeling of up and down again. When Lin Yuan returned to the Radiant Light Palace, he was no longer in the mood to wear the mask that he had bought. Zhang Xiaobai walked to Lin Yuan's side, and the relaxed and joyful expression on his face slowly disappeared, becoming very serious. Lin Yuan, you guys go watch the all-star match first. I'll go to the lounge and look for the Extreme Guild Club's team leader to handle the withdrawal procedures for Xianing, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru. Zhang Xiaobai looked at Lin Yuan with indescribable gratitude, but he did not say too many words of gratitude. Zhang Xiaobai was usually not very tactful, but he placed great importance on relationships. Zhang Xiaobai did not want to just talk about Lin Yuan's great kindness. Instead, he kept it in his heart. Lin Yuan asked curiously when he heard Zhang Xiaobai's words. Didn't the three of them personally go to the Extreme Guild Club to complete the withdrawal procedures? Will the Extreme Guild Club release them now that it's officially the season? Zhang Xiaobai lowered his head and said softly. The three of them haven't woken up, and the Extreme Club knows about their current situation. Applying to terminate the contract means that everything that happens in the future will have nothing to do with the Extreme Guild Club. I'm afraid the Extreme Guild Club can't wait for the three of them to terminate the contract. But if they wait for the three of them to wake up and then go to terminate the contract, I'm afraid the Extreme Guild Club won't let them go so easily. At that time, they can only pay the 100,000 radiance dollars stipulated in the contract to leave like me. Zhang Xiaobai shrugged and was silent for a moment before continuing. Even if the application to leave the Extreme Guild Club has been approved, I'm the one who handled it. According to the Guild Alliance's rights, the three of them also have a 3-day consideration period. The three of them must have woken up in 3 days. At that time, it will be up to them to decide whether to leave the guild or not. As Zhang Xiaobai spoke, Lin Yuan could hear that he was full of consideration for Xianing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran. Although Zhang Xiaobai was usually joking, he was really abnormally reliable at critical moments. At the mention of the Extreme Guild Club, Lin Yuan could feel the bitterness in Zhang Xiaobai's heart. It was obvious that Zhang Xiaobai had deep feelings for the Extreme Guild Club after what happened. After these things happened, Zhang Xiaobai's original feelings and expectations for the Extreme Guild Club had turned into deep disappointment. The Dome Guild Club that Lin Yuan had established only had one member in the reserve team, including Chu Si's addition. Zhang Xiaobai, Xianing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran were just enough to fill the vacancy of the Extreme Guild Club's reserve team. Moreover, Lin Yuan, Zhang Xiaobai, Xianing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran had experienced life and death together, so he understood their strength. The four of them might not be outstanding among the younger generation, but their fays were still pretty good. In particular, Lu Pinru already had 4 lustrous weaver silkworms with the same abilities and exclusive skills. During the battle, Lu Pinru commanded the lustrous weaver silkworms to put on Pinru's clothes for her teammates and their fays. It was simply too fierce. Now that Lin Yuan had Master Hong Shen, a pinnacle class 3 creation master, by his side, he could totally let Master Hong Shen enhance the 4 of them. After all, Zhang Xiaobai, Xianing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran were all solid B-rank spirit chi professionals, and their fays could be upgraded to platinum at most. Even if the 4 of them did not comprehend willpower runes, the strength of their platinum fays could faintly rival the strength of gold/fantasy breed fays. This level of strength was more than enough to use. However, the problem between Zhang Xiaobai, Xianing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran and the Extreme Guild Club had not been completely resolved. It was not a good time for Lin Yuan to throw out an olive branch. Lin Yuan took out his ticket and waved it at Zhang Xiaobai. My seat is A0217. Just find me when you're done. Upon hearing that, Zhang Xiaobai waved at Lin Yuan and ran toward the Extreme Guild Club's lounge. Looking at Zhang Xiaobai's departing figure, the mother of Bloodbath said to Lin Yuan, apart from being unreliable, Zhang Xiaobai has a good temperament. Apart from being unreliable, Zhang Xiaobai has a good temperament. It's rare for him to be so thoughtful for his companions. If I can join the guild club you establish in the future, I'm willing to give that bloody leech a chance. When Lin Yuan heard the mother of Bloodbath's words, he knew that it appreciated Zhang Xiaobai very much. As soon as Lin Yuan and the mother of Bloodbath entered the arena, they were shocked by the cheers of 200,000 spectators in the audience seats. The cheers of 200,000 spectators raised the atmosphere to the peak, making Lin Yuan immediately excited. But all of a sudden, Lin Yuan heard the originally noisy cheers suddenly become unified. His ears were filled with black. It's Black. Wah, Lord Black. Such a voice rang out. Lin Yuan was shocked. Did I expose my identity? The second one was even more shocking. End of this chapter. Chapter 622. Just when Lin Yuan thought that his identity had been exposed, Lin Yuan suddenly recalled that he was not wearing the silver mask that Genius had transformed into. Moreover, the vendors outside the Radiant Light Palace were selling silver masks. Even if he wore the silver mask and walked toward the audience seats, the audience should not be surprised. When Lin Yuan looked at the other audience members in the Radiant Light Palace, he immediately realized that he had been thinking too much. Lin Yuan saw that the audience members were staring at one spot in the arena. Lin Yuan followed his gaze and saw a Dao shadow walking toward the duel arena from the audience seats. This person who was walking towards the arena was wearing a silver mask. When Lin Yuan saw this figure, his eyes immediately shrank. This was because this figure was actually wearing the same clothes as Chu Xi when she came to the arena in the morning. Logically speaking, there were 200,000 audience members, and the population base was huge. It was not strange for them to wear the same clothes. However, the clothes that Chu Xi was wearing could not be bought on the market. Instead, it was cut from the entire skin of a platinum Kirin star-spotted fish. The skin of the Jilin star-dot fish was a very rare material. Under the illumination of the light, the pale golden fish skin would shimmer like stars. Since it was custom-made, it was almost impossible for them to wear the same clothes. At that moment, Lin Yuan could hear the shouts of Black's name from time to time. A loud male voice rang out from the direction of the dueling arena. Congratulations to this lucky audience member for being chosen by the Dragon Gate Guild Club's representative, Chen Hongfeng. Chen Hongfeng is a member of the Dragon Gate Guild Club's reserve team. In the top 16 and top 8 matches, he entered the main team as a reserve team member and helped the main team achieve good results. Lucky audience member, I wonder if you want to challenge the Dragon Gate Guild Club's Chen Hongfeng to prove your strength? Or do you want to conduct a guidance battle? The Dragon Gate Guild Club's Chen Hongfeng will personally guide you in combat techniques. When he heard the voice coming from the center of the arena, Lin Yuan immediately knew that it was the All-Star Match's host and commentator. Although Lin Yuan rarely paid attention to those famous hosts and commentators in the Radiance Federation, he was not unfamiliar with this person. As long as the S tournament had some superstar teams colliding with each other, or if it was a large-scale match, it would be hosted and commentated by this bearded man in the center of the arena. He continued to stare at the silver-masked figure for a moment before confirming that it was Chu Xi. Then, he heard Chu Xi's voice. Of course I choose the challenge. It was Chu Xi's words that raised the atmosphere once again. It's a challenge competition. And it was a girl. This girl won't be scared to tears by Chen Hongfeng's smooth-toothed elephant lizard. The person wearing my husband's mask is actually a woman. Chen Hongfeng, I order you to beat her up. I never thought that someone would dare challenge the guild challenge this year. It's fortunate that this woman encountered the Dragon Gate Guild Club and not the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. He heard the fighting spirit and eagerness in her words. Of course I choose to challenge you. Lin Yuan could not help but have a headache. In such a real-life duel, the collision between Fays wouldn't be as simple as it was on the star web. It was very easy to get injured. Even if one won the duel, the winner would have to pay a huge price under the loser's all-out counterattack. Lin Yuan looked at the audience around the Radiant Light Palace and then at the young girl standing in the middle of the arena who had already decided to challenge. The feeling that his younger sister had really grown up arose spontaneously. It made Lin Yuan feel proud and a little melancholic. It was said that gold would always shine. After Chu Si's hard work and Lin Yuan's resources, she was no longer just a piece of gold. She was a pearl that had been stored in a box and had converged its brilliance. This duel was the moment when Chu Si, the pearl in the box, shone with a resplendent brilliance and illuminated the mountains and rivers. Lin Yuan had fought with Chen Hongfeng a few months ago and had some understanding of Chen Hongfeng's strength. If Chen Hongfeng's two Feis still maintained their previous standards, Chen Hongfeng was likely to be broken by the challenger he had chosen in the challenge competition. Chu Si's words stunned the host, Hua Ziyuan, who had not expected that the first lucky audience member to be chosen would be in the challenge competition. Furthermore, it was during the Dragon Gate Guild Club's All-Star competition where they had just defeated the Rhine Guild Club. Hua Ziyuan quickly said. The first lucky spectator chose the challenge. His courage is commendable and worthy of encouragement. Since the lucky audience that Chen Hongfeng personally selected has chosen the challenge match, then Chen Hongfeng must go easy on them. Chen Hongfeng nodded and said in a deep voice. I will treat this challenge as a tutorial battle. Chen Hongfeng's words immediately caused another round of cheers, but there were also a few words mixed in. Hua Ziyuan actually asked Chen Hongfeng to show mercy. Why do I have a bad feeling about this? Great Celestial Hua, don't tell me that you're secretly working hard to create trouble for the Dragon Gate Club? Just now, Rhine Club lost because of deity Hua's poisonous milk. Lin Yuan heard the words of the audience beside him and thought to himself. If Chen Hongfeng underestimated his opponent, he might really be taught a lesson by Chu Si. As for the famous host and the famous commentator, Hua Ziyuan's toxic healer, it could be considered an important reason why Hua Ziyuan was so popular as a commentator and host. In the past few years of the S tournament, it was unknown how many evenly matched battles had been lost by Hua Ziyuan's poisonous milk. Lin Yuan had already arrived at his seat. As soon as he sat down, he heard Lu Jie mumble softly. If the Dragon Gate Guild Club's Chen Hongfeng dares to hurt Chu Si, I have to go to Long Tao and ask for an explanation. Chen Hongfeng actually said that he wanted to play the challenge match as a tutorial battle. As expected of someone brought up by Long Tao. He's even more pretentious than that old man. While muttering to himself, Lu Jie saw that Lin Yuan had returned. He hurriedly took out a bento and handed it to Lin Yuan before giving the rest to the mother of Bloodbath. Lin Yuan, did things go smoothly? Lin Yuan nodded. Very smoothly. Was there anything exciting about the exhibition match just now, Big Brother Lu? Hearing this, Lu Jie's expression immediately became serious. The Dragon Gate Guild Club's Fang Duo Duo showed his hidden trump card. Fang Duo Duo is very similar to Long Tao. Long Tao's main Fei, the Sea King Chalk Mosasaurus, did not hide it, and Fang Duoduo's main Fei has always been that Platinum 2/Fantasy 2 Fury Terror Ray. But I didn't expect Fang Duo Duo to actually secretly nurture a Platinum 6/Fantasy 2 Turbo Spinner Tooth Shark. Fang Duo Duo exposed his trump card at this time. It looks like he's going to attack the Radiance 100 sequence ranking this year. Based on the strength Fang Duo Duo has shown now, it shouldn't be impossible for him to rise from sequence 43 to the top 30. Lin Yuan found that although Lu Jie's expression was very serious when talking about Fang Duoduo's strength, there was no sense of seriousness. It seemed that after the insect queen absorbed the blade queen bee's mental toxin and completed its mutation, Lu Jie no longer felt that Fang Duoduo's exposed strength was a threat. First, more. End of this chapter. Chapter 623. When Lu Jie had returned to the Radiance 100 sequence, he had defeated the original Radiance 100 sequence number 30, Invisible Coil Lan Feichuan. He had replaced Lan Feichuan's position. However, this ranking was only because Lu Jie had withdrawn from the sequence to protect Cold Frost City. Now that he had returned to the sequence, it was the privilege given by the Radiance Sacred Hall. Before the Radiance 100 sequence selection, the Radiance 100 would undergo a major sequence change and determine the seeded contestants from sequence number 9 to sequence number 100 for the selection. Lin Yuan asked. Big brother Lu, are you planning to charge forward again this year? Upon hearing that, Lu Jie nodded with a firm and full of fighting spirit. Lin Yuan, it won't be a problem for you to enter the Radiance 100 sequence this year. Since you've also entered the Radiance 100 sequence this year, I'm prepared to see where the limits of my current strength are. As he spoke, Lu Jie's eyes flashed with confidence. After the Insect Queen had mutated, as its contractor, Lu Jie only knew that the Insect Queen had undergone an earth-shattering change. However, he could not be sure how strong it was now. The Radiance 100 sequence's ranking could be used as a touchstone for the mutated Insect Queen. At the same time, Lu Jie thought of the strength that Lin Yuan had displayed in the evolved Water World Dimensional Rift. Had it not been for the first-year newcomers entering the Radiance 100 sequence only being ranked from sequence number 91 to number 100, Lin Yuan's ranking would probably be higher. Big brother Lu, Fang Duo took out his trump card and allowed the Dragon Gate Guild Club to suppress the Rhine Guild Club. Didn't the people from the Rhine Club show their trump cards? Lu Jie asked. The All-Star Matches exhibition match doesn't have much value. Although the champion team can increase popularity, apart from the Barbarian Snake Guild Club, no other guild club can enter the top 16 with low popularity. If they have tricks up their sleeves, they should be preparing to use them in the real S tournament. Fang Duo exposed his trump card too early. When the Rhine Guild Club and the Dragon Gate Guild Club fight, the Rhine Guild Club will make a battle plan in advance to target Fang Duo. I feel that the Dragon Gate Guild Club's 5th member is still uncertain this year. With the 4 main members and Qin Hongfeng participating in the final battle, they shouldn't be able to beat the Rhine Guild Club, which hasn't revealed any trump card yet. As Lu Jie spoke, he shifted his gaze to the Dragon Gate Guild Club's seating area. He noticed that Fang Duo was also looking in his direction. Fang Duo didn't expect his eyes to meet Lu Jie's. Fang Duo stretched out his hand and made a yeah gesture. Lu Jie looked at Fang Duo, who had a watermelon haircut and was smiling heartlessly, and nodded slightly as a greeting. Fang Duo turned his head to look at Long Tao, who was flipping through a stack of documents. Boss, Feng's opponent seems to be a lucky spectator who came with Lu Jie. As he spoke, Fang Duo extended his hand towards the fried chicken in Zhao Xiaochun's hand. He tore a thigh from the fried chicken and stuffed it into his mouth. Zhao Xiaochun glared at Fang Duo and put the fried chicken behind her. I'm going to die. Fang Duo. Just now when I was eating my hamburger, you took away all my lettuce leaves, and now you want to steal my fried chicken. Long Tao said helplessly. He did not expect Fang Duo and Zhao Xiaochun to quarrel in front of so many people. Xiaochun, stop eating. Is Mu Xiangju's food that good? And I even let you pack so many of them. Seeing Zhao Xiaochun eating the fried chicken in her hand like a hamster, Long Tao silently lit a candle for Su in his heart. Upon hearing Fang Duo say that the woman in the duel arena had come with Lu Jie, Long Tao subconsciously looked in Lu Jie's direction. However, when he saw the youth wearing white and blue spirit chi clothes next to Lu Jie, Long Tao's expression immediately froze. Long Tao still remembered that when he had been competing with the tea attendants in the Radiant Moon Palace at the Leaning Moon Mountain, he had exhausted all the spiritual power in his body. It was the youth sitting next to Lu Jie who had helped him recover his strength and prevented him from making a fool of himself and falling to the ground. Long Tao was a smart person and could tell from Cold Moon's attitude toward the youth. He knew that he and Qin Rui were destined to be foils. Presumably, this youth was already the Moon Empress disciple. After seeing Lin Yuan, Long Tao put down the documents in his hand and frowned at the arena. He had a feeling that the challenge later would not be so simple. In the duel arena, Chu Xi and Qin Hongfeng had already set up their stances. Before the duel, both sides had to reveal their spirit chi professionals type. When Hu Ziyuan, the host and commentator, heard that Chu Xi was a defense-type spirit chi professional, he could not help but break out in a cold sweat for her. Qin Hongfeng was a combat-class spirit chi professional. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard was a pure violent melee fighter, while the huge-tailed swamp lizard was a flexible long-range magic-type attacker. The combination of a close-range and long-range attack was very comprehensive. Defense-type spirit chi professionals mostly relied on team combat. In such a duel, Hua Ziyuan was really afraid that Chu Ci, who was a defense-type spirit chi professional, would become a live target the moment she entered the duel arena. Although he was worried, Hua Ziyuan saw that both sides had set up their stances. It was about time, so he shouted in a deep voice. "Let the duel begin." Accompanied by the announcement of the start of the duel, two violent roars echoed. One of the roars was very loud and carried a cruel flavor. The other roar wasn't loud, but when that roar sounded, a loud roar rang out. The ground at Qin Hongfeng's feet had become a quagmire with a radius of 20 square meters. The huge-tailed swamp lizard immediately hid in the swamp that had just appeared. After being summoned, the huge smooth-toothed elephant lizard stopped in front of Qin Hongfeng and stared at Chu Ci, who was opposite Qin Hongfeng. Swinging its thick and powerful tail, it prepared to charge forward. Hua Ziyuan immediately explained. The Dragon Gate Guild Club's Qin Hongfeng summoned his signature Fei, the Gold X/Epic Smooth-Toothed Elephant Lizard and the Gold X/Epic Huge-Tailed Swamp Lizard. As soon as Hua Ziyuan introduced Qin Hongfeng's Fei, he saw the lucky spectator standing opposite Qin Hongfeng waving his hand. A butterfly that looked like it was carved out of high-quality yellow jade flew out of his palm. The butterfly's wings were decorated with gorgeous patterns of peonies. As the commentator and host of the tournament, Hua Ziyuan was a Class 2 creation master, so he could immediately recognize a Fei's grade and quality. Hua Ziyuan widened his eyes and said in surprise. "This is actually a Bronze X/Epic Butterfly Fei." As soon as Hua Ziyuan's voice fell, the originally noisy audience became completely silent. The second one was even worse. End of chapter. Chapter 624. Any spirit chi professional knew what a bronze/fantasy breed Fei meant. Chu Ci had revealed her bronze/fantasy obsidian iron wild bull in the Redbud Spirit Chi Academy and was named the #1 genius of the Radiance Federation's younger generation. It could be seen how rare a bronze/fantasy breed Fei was. In fact, apart from showing potential, a bronze/fantasy breed Fei also meant an extraordinary background. Otherwise, even if one comprehended a willpower rune, it would be useless without a bronze/legend Fei. The challenger was wearing a silver mask, so no one knew his age. Even if this lucky masked spectator was older than Qin Hongfeng, just his bronze/fantasy breed Fei alone was already more talented than Qin Hongfeng, who had 2 gold/epic Feis. After all, Qin Hongfeng didn't have a single fantasy breed Fei yet. The scene on the field made the palace of glow light fall silent for half a minute, and then there was a burst of violent shouts. The entire arena's atmosphere was even comparable to the duel between the Dragon Gate Guild Club and the Rhine Guild Club. Bronze/fantasy breed. NB. I didn't expect the first challenge to be so exciting. I actually saw a bronze/fantasy breed Fei in reality. But even a bronze/fantasy breed can't beat 2 pinnacle gold large lizards. Fuck, it's actually a bronze/fantasy breed Fei. And it's a butterfly species Fei. It looks much better than the Iron Bull Princess's bronze/fantasy breed. Lin Yuan listened to the noise and didn't think much of it at first. However, when he heard the words Iron Bull Princess, he was surprised to see a fatty waving his hands excitedly not far from him. In the entire Radiance Federation, there were bronze/fantasy breed Feis. Some pinnacle factions with pinnacle class 4 creation masters had the opportunity to nurture bronze/legend Feis. These bronze/legend Feis naturally had to display their greatest value and become bronze/fantasy breed existences. However, after these bronze/legend Feis were promoted to bronze/fantasy breed, they would soon be promoted to silver/fantasy breed. It was considered a trump card of the top faction's younger generation and wouldn't be revealed. It was also because of this reason that Chu Si had caused such a huge commotion in the Redbud Spirit Chi Academy when she revealed her bronze/fantasy breed Obsidian Iron Wild Bull. Bronze/fantasy breed fays were already rare. The Iron Ox Princess this fatty was referring to was probably Chu Si. As the elder brother, Lin Yuan heard his sister being called the Iron Ox Princess. He couldn't help but clench his fists. Apart from Iron Tong's sister nurturing plan 4.0, Lin Yuan suddenly had a new plan. Iron Ox Princess crushing plan 1.0, Lin Yuan believed that the Iron Ox Princess's plan crushing 1.0 would definitely help Chu Si get rid of this unpleasant title. Otherwise, it would be too unpleasant for a girl to be called a big iron ox. He knew that Chu Si had a bronze/fantasy Obsidian Iron Wild Bull, but he did not expect her to have a bronze/fantasy Butterfly Fae. From the looks of it, this bronze/fantasy Butterfly Fae was very similar to the Emerald Jade Butterfly, which had the strongest defense among Butterfly Faes. Lu Jie knew that Lin Yuan could take out a bronze/legend Fae. However, having a bronze/legend Fae was one thing, and comprehending 2 willpower runes was another. Previously, there were many posts on Star Web saying that Chu Si, the Radiance Federation's #1 genius, did not live up to her name. Ever since Chu Si had been called the Radiance Federation's #1 genius on Star Web, she had been slandered a lot. Lu Jie thought. When Chu Si summoned the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull, even if she was wearing a silver mask, the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's appearance was enough to prove her identity. Although there were many similar types of common fays, after fusing with a common fay and the willpower rune to evolve into a fantasy breed, it would become a fantasy breed. Due to the different willpower runes, each fantasy breed fay was considered a unique existence. The signature fay could often represent a spirit chi professional's identity. Fang Duo of the Dragon Gate Guild Club asked Long Tao with his mouth agape. "Captain, say something. Is this butterfly species Fey a bronze/fantasy breed?" Long Tao glanced at Fang Duo and said. "Even if you aren't a creation master, can't you tell if this butterfly Fey is a fantasy breed?" Originally, I wanted Ah Feng to represent the Dragon Gate Guild Club in choosing the lucky spectators so that Ah Feng could show his face more. It would be helpful for Ah Feng when he enters the main team in the future. But when the opponent summons a bronze/fantasy breed Fey, the attention of this challenge is destined not to fall on Ah Feng. Even if Ah Feng wins the challenge, it's equivalent to losing. If I didn't see wrongly, this butterfly Fey should be a mutated jadeite butterfly. According to the Class 5 scholar, Teacher Bobo's research, a Fey's mutation talent is dependent on the complexity of the mutated Fey. This butterfly Fey has a positive mutation based on the jadeite butterfly. Upon hearing Long Tao's words, Fang Duo looked at the golden butterfly fluttering around the woman. The golden butterflies fluttered on the woman's dress, which was glowing with resplendent starlight. Fang Duo looked at Chen Hongfeng's 2 lizard Feys again. Even so, Ah Feng will definitely win. Long Tao looked at Fang Duo as though he was looking at a deity and said. Fang Duo, have you noticed that you've gained at least 10 kilograms since you started exploring shops with Zhao Xiaochun? Your double chin is about to come out. Your IQ has also been digested along with the food you eat and then excreted. Upon hearing Long Tao's words, Fang Duo touched his watermelon head and pinched his double chin. His mind was spinning rapidly. He thought that Long Tao was hinting to him not to always explore shops with Zhao Xiaochun. Or was he showing that he was fat, or was he despising him for being stupid? This was really a difficult question. Before Fang Duo could think of an answer, he heard Long Tao speak again. If it were you, would you only form a contract with a bronze/fantasy breed Fey? Upon hearing Long Tao's words, Fang Duo was startled. Then, he turned his head and stared at the arena. At that moment, a long bull's voice suddenly echoed. A black and strong bull species Fey appeared in front of the silver-masked woman. This black bull species Fey's entire body was emitting a rich metallic luster. It was also this metallic luster that made this bull species' phase black color look like a multicolored black. The first one was even more beautiful. End of this chapter. Chapter 625. Elementalized metal horns constantly condensed on the cow phase head. The sharp horns flashed with a cold metallic glint, giving off an abnormally cold feeling. Huaziyuan had slightly lost his composure when he saw Chu Ci summon the yellow jadeite golden butterfly. Huaziyuan had not expected an experienced commentator like him to forget to introduce the yellow jadeite golden butterfly's grade. However, looking at the atmosphere, Huaziyuan was not in a hurry to introduce it. Instead, he planned to wait for the audience to vent their emotions and calm down a little before introducing this bronze/fantasy breed butterfly fae. However, before Huaziyuan could introduce it, the lucky chosen spectator actually summoned another fantasy breed fae. Upon seeing this newly summoned fantasy breed fae, Huaziyuan immediately knew that he did not need to introduce it to this lucky spectator. Just by looking at this newly summoned fantasy breed fae, the audience must have already known the identity of this lucky spectator. Huaziyuan looked at the silver-masked Chu Ci and immediately decided to change his commentary strategy. No matter who won or lost, the focus of his commentary would shift from Chen Hongfeng to Chu Ci. The instant Chu Ci summoned the obsidian iron wild bull, the audience's voice seemed to break through the radiant light palace's gilded roof. The moment Chu Ci summoned the obsidian iron wild bull, many spectators shouted. Then, someone started shouting, and many people in the audience started shouting. Iron Bull Princess! Hit him! Iron Bull Princess! Charge! At that moment, he heard the fatty yell not far from him. Iron Bull Princess! Dance your recoil dance! Use your horns to push him out! The corners of his mouth could not help but twitch. Chu Ci, who had just summoned the obsidian iron wild bull, also twitched her mouth. Chu Ci's face behind the silver mask revealed a conflicted expression. Isn't my little iron block cute? Why am I called Iron Bull Princess out of nowhere? It's too much. After the clamor subsided, Huaziyuan began to introduce loudly. I didn't expect the first lucky spectator to be the #1 genius on Star Web. Bronze X/Fantasy I Yellow Jadeite Golden Butterfly and Silver V/Fantasy 2 Obsidian Iron Wild Bull. At 16 years old, they're like this. Huaziyuan talked non-stop about Chu Ci. It was as if Chen Hongfeng, who was supposed to be the main character of the challenge, had become an irrelevant person. As the official host and commentator of the Guild Alliance, Huaziyuan's commentary during the Dragon Gate Guild Club's challenge to select the lucky spectators was the same as weakening Chen Hongfeng's presence. To put it simply, Huaziyuan was adjusting his commentary based on the situation on the field. In other words, it was a provocation to the Dragon Gate Club. However, all of this did not cause Long Tao any dissatisfaction. Instead, Long Tao wanted to thank Huaziyuan when he saw the situation on the field. If Chen Hongfeng really lost, then Huaziyuan's current commentary method would weaken Chen Hongfeng's presence. The audience's attention was focused on the silver-masked woman, which could also relieve some of the pressure that Chen Hongfeng had to face. Long Tao sighed softly. Perhaps the Radiance 100 sequence will have a new minimum age next year. At this moment, Chen Hongfeng took a deep breath. His long experience in competitions made Chen Hongfeng instinctively ignore the cheers that did not belong to him. Just by looking at the two fantasy breed fays that the woman opposite him had summoned, and one of them was a silver/fantasy 2 fay. Chen Hongfeng knew that his next battle would not be easy. Chen Hongfeng did not have time to complain about his godlike luck in the all-star match, which was the easiest to select the lucky spectators. Instead, his mind started to spin rapidly on how to carry out the most effective battle later. The Silver V/Fantasy 2 Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's strength was already comparable to the Gold X/Epic Smooth-Toothed Elephant Lizard. His Gold X/Epic Huge-Tailed Swamp Lizard was a major grade higher than the Bronze X/Fantasy Breed Jadeite Golden Butterfly. With such strength comparison, he still had the advantage in overall strength. However, facing the two unknown fantasy breed Fays with two more exclusive skills than ordinary Fays, Chen Hongfeng had a headache. She did not stop after summoning the obsidian iron wild bull. Instead, she circulated her spiritual energy to summon the bronze X/epic burning sunflower Gemini again. After Chu Xi summoned the burning sunflower twins, they immediately sat on Chu Xi's shoulders, one on the left and one on the right. Compared to the two fantasy breed Fays that Chu Xi had summoned, the burning sunflower Gemini was a rare fairy source type life form. However, it did not cause cheers like when Chu Xi had summoned the yellow jadeite golden butterfly and the obsidian iron wild bull. However, the creation masters present could not help but look at Chu Xi with astonishment. The most basic requirement for the fairy source type life form, the burning sunflower, to give birth to the Gemini was that the burning sunflower itself had to reach legend when it was at bronze. After giving birth to the Gemini, the burning sunflower's grade would fall back to normal I/normal. And now, the burning sunflower Gemini had reached bronze X/epic. What a huge amount of creation master's resources. Thinking of the young girl's terrifying Fey configuration, the creation masters present knew that the reason why the burning sunflower Gemini was stuck at bronze X was probably because it was waiting for the young girl to comprehend another willpower rune. The Fey's quality that other spirit chi professionals pursued had become ordinary in front of this young girl. The Fey's quality that other spirit chi professionals pursued had become ordinary in front of this young girl. What kind of noble lady was she? The moment the burning sunflower Gemini was summoned, Chen Hongfeng immediately felt a burning sensation coming towards him. Chen Hongfeng quickly controlled the huge-tailed swamp lizard to quickly expand a large area of the swamp. He let the swamp cover his surroundings and used the water vapor emitted by the swamp to offset the burning sensation. However, Chen Hongfeng keenly noticed that the water in the swamp created by the huge-tailed swamp lizard was constantly decreasing. Even though the decrease in water was not fast, after a period of time, the swamp created by the huge-tailed swamp lizard would become a sticky swamp. At that time, the huge-tailed swamp lizard's silver ability, Mud Escape, and gold ability, Rotten Mud Rain, would be affected. Logically speaking, when Chen Hongfeng chose the lucky spectator, the selected lucky spectator should attack first. But now, he was feeling the heat in the air and the ability to strip the water from the heat. Chen Hongfeng could not care so much and immediately commanded the smooth-toothed elephant lizard to rush in Chu Xi's direction. Long Tao had appointed Chen Hongfeng as the Dragon Gate Guild Club's representative and represented the entire Dragon Gate Guild Club. Therefore, Chen Hongfeng had to win this battle no matter what. The second battle was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 626. When Chu Xi saw the smooth-toothed elephant lizard charging toward her, she did not panic at all. Instead, she shouted, "Little iron block, use iron horn strike." Before the battle, Chu Xi and Chen Hongfeng had installed sound amplification devices on them. Thus, Chu Xi's instructions were clearly transmitted to the entire Radiant Light Palace. Chu Xi's voice trembled when she said the word, strike, and she looked a little nervous. However, Lin Yuan knew that Chu Xi was often very calm when she was really nervous. The obvious trembling in her voice meant that she was excited. Lin Yuan looked at the obsidian iron wild bull charging toward the smooth-toothed dragon lizard and thought, "Chu Xi, let me see your growth." Chu Xi, who was on the arena, suddenly turned her head and looked in Lin Yuan's direction. Her eyes flashed with determination. Chu Xi had already made up her mind that she would do her best to win this match. She wanted to prove to Lin Yuan the results she had achieved in the past year. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard, which was about 5 meters tall and 10 meters long, was a big guy. It was much bigger than the obsidian iron wild bull, which was more than 3 meters long and 2 meters tall. However, when the smooth-toothed elephant lizard and the obsidian iron wild bull collided. When the two collided, a loud bang rang out as their flesh and blood collided. In terms of strength, the two could be said to be evenly matched. But at that moment, a huge sword horn with a metal outer layer suddenly emerged from the obsidian iron wild bull's head. The huge sword horn mercilessly pierced through the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's tough skin. It pierced its forelimbs, causing a bouquet of blood to bloom. The obsidian iron wild bull's attack did not stop after the elementalized metal horn hit. The original sword horn formed by the metal elements disappeared. Then, sword horns of different shapes appeared out of thin air and pierced into the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's forelimbs from other angles. The sword horns also changed shape wantonly and destroyed the flesh in the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's forelimbs. Chen Hongfeng did not expect this young challenger to be so decisive. He had attacked first, but the smooth-toothed elephant lizard had been repeatedly stabbed by the fantasy breed bull Fei in the collision. Just as the sharp iron horn bull's third sword horn appeared out of thin air and pierced the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's forelimb, Chen Hongfeng shouted. Smooth-toothed elephant lizard, use tragic claw. Then use crazy bite on the target's forelimbs. At the same time, block the wound with oily mucus. Following Chen Hongfeng's command, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body suddenly glistened with oil. Then a thick layer of oily mucus was discharged from the oil glands on the back of the smooth-toothed elephant lizard. When the oily mucus attached to the 3 big holes in the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's forelimbs, it directly sealed the holes. It prevented the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's blood from flowing out in large amounts. At the same time, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard fiercely waved its other forelimb that was not attacked. He swung it at the obsidian iron wild bull's head. Just as the lizard's claws were about to touch the obsidian iron wild bull's head, a golden jade-like transparent round shield appeared around it. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard's tragic claw, which had a tearing effect and a bleeding effect, hit the emerald golden butterfly's skill, gold emerald shield. It directly caused a crack to appear on the bronze X/Fantasy Eye gold emerald shield. Then, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard opened its mouth, and its huge jagged teeth clamped down on the gold emerald shield like a clamp. The moment the smooth-toothed elephant lizard bit the gold emerald shield, it immediately spun like a top. The spinning force increased the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's strength, and it directly crushed the gold emerald shield. The spinning smooth-toothed elephant lizard had just been hit 3 times by the obsidian iron wild bull's iron horn while it was still spinning, so it hated the obsidian iron wild bull to the core. At this time, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard relied on its combat instincts and used its 2 forelimbs to hit the obsidian iron wild bull's back with its tragic claw. Since the obsidian iron wild bull's strength was comparable to the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's, even if the obsidian iron wild bull had metallized skin. However, the tragic claw's tearing effect immediately opened up several deep gashes on the obsidian iron wild bull's back. The moment the gashes opened up, the obsidian iron wild bull's back was instantly dyed red with blood. The obsidian iron wild bull let out a violent moo in pain. At this time, Chen Hongfeng had already decisively ordered the gold X/epic huge-tailed swamp lizard to use the AoE skill, Decaying Mud Rain. The Decaying Mud Rain did not only cover the obsidian iron wild bull's body. It also covered Chu Ci, who was commanding the obsidian iron wild bull. Faced with the menacing rain of corrosive mud, Chu Ci directly ordered the yellow jadeite golden butterfly. Little wings, use gold emerald shield again. A golden jadeite shield appeared around Chu Ci. It helped Chu Ci isolate the corrosive decaying mud rain. At the same time, the gold emerald shield also enveloped the yellow jadeite golden butterfly and the burning sunflower Gemini, who were sitting on Chu Ci's shoulder. Seeing the menacing decaying mud rain, Chu Ci decisively commanded the obsidian iron wild bull. Little iron block, use pain buffer. Upon receiving Chu Ci's command, the obsidian iron wild bull's body flashed with an obsidian luster. When the rain of rotten mud hit the obsidian iron wild bull's body, it was immediately repelled by the obsidian glow. The giant-tailed swamp lizard dealt elemental damage through the combination of water and earth elements. It was perfectly countered by the obsidian iron wild bull's silver skill, pain buffer. At this point, the commentator, Hua Ziyuan, had almost shouted himself hoarse. Although this was only a challenge to select the lucky spectators, the value of this challenge was too much. A middle school student was controlling two fantasy breed fays and fighting with Chen Hongfeng, a reserve member of the Dragon Gate Guild Club who had been the main force for many matches. As time went on, the odds of victory were 50-50. After the S tournament ended, this match would probably become the biggest news of the all-star competition. Hua Ziyuan said loudly as he sensed the situation on both sides. Both sides appear to be evenly matched, but according to my analysis, the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's skill can negate elemental damage. It's the same as weakening the huge-tailed swamp lizard's attacks and restraining it. Therefore, I believe that the challenger, Chu Ci, has a very high chance of winning. Hua Ziyuan's words caused the cheers of the audience to stop. Fuck. Hua Ziyuan spoke. The result of this match is out. Hua Ziyuan is awesome. His poisonous milk defeated the Iron Wild Bull Princess. No. Hua Ziyuan. How can my wife lose? When he heard this voice, his originally gentle eyes immediately became sharp as he scanned the surroundings. First update. End of this chapter. Chapter 627. However, with 200,000 viewers, he did not know which damn hooligan had said, "How could my wife lose?" Otherwise, he would never mind letting him put away his dangerous thoughts. Chu Ci paid no attention to the clamor in the hall and the rain of rotten mud that never stopped. Since the rotten mud rain was an AoE skill, its damage was not considered strong. The yellow jade golden butterfly's bronze X/fantasy eye strength could also resist it well. However, Chu Ci knew that the silver pain buffer of the huge-tailed swamp lizard was not immune to elemental damage. How much damage the obsidian iron wild bull had suffered from the rotten mud rain would have to be returned after the layer of obsidian-like light on its body dissipated. Chu Ci immediately controlled the burning sunflower Gemini to use burning flame to fly toward the smooth-toothed elephant lizard and the huge-tailed swamp lizard that had emerged from the swamp. The two elf-like cute burning sunflower Gemini flew toward their respective targets. Chen Hongfeng did not know the effects of the burning sunflower Gemini's abilities and only regarded them as a source-type life form with fire-type abilities. Chen Hongfeng had two gold X/epic lizard species phase, so he did not care about a bronze X/epic fairy source-type life form. However, the moment the burning sunflower Gemini attached themselves to the smooth-toothed elephant lizard, a layer of red flames like a flaming cicada coat ignited on the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body. The effect of burning flame stripping caused the layer of flame cicada coat on the smooth-toothed elephant lizard to quickly strip the water from its oily mucus while roasting it. The oily mucus turned from its original viscous state into pure flowing animal fat and lost its stickiness. This caused a large amount of blood to flow out of the wounds caused by the obsidian iron wild bull's 3 iron horns. The moment the blood flowed out, the gemstones on the burning sunflower Gemini's foreheads glowed with a green brilliance. Obviously, the burning sunflower Gemini was using their exclusive skill, Gemini Care, to absorb the vitality taken away by burning the smooth-toothed elephant lizard. Chen Hongfeng cursed inwardly and controlled the smooth-toothed elephant lizard to use its gold ability, Wave Treading. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body shook violently, and a large amount of water elemental energy gushed out of its body. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard turned its head and collided with the burning sunflower Gemini, who were flying around it. However, Chen Hongfeng's frown deepened as he bumped into the air. Chen Hongfeng had never thought that a bronze X/epic fairy source-type life form would be immune to physical damage. Chen Hongfeng commanded as he watched the other burning sunflower Gemini fly towards the huge-tailed swamp lizard. Giant-tailed swamp lizard, use smelly mud. The huge-tailed swamp lizard quickly spat out 3 balls of grayish-green mud that emitted a nauseating smell. However, when the burning sunflower Gemini's body was hit by the mud, the burning sunflower Gemini simply ignored the attack. It firmly attached itself to the huge-tailed swamp lizard's body. The moment the giant-tailed swamp lizard entered the smelly swamp, the burning sunflower Gemini immediately separated from the giant-tailed swamp lizard. However, the burning sunflower Gemini that had escaped from the giant-tailed swamp lizard was still burning with flames all over their bodies as they firmly guarded the area of 20 to 30 square meters of the smelly swamp. When the huge-tailed swamp lizard appeared, he would attach himself to it again. Chen Hongfeng clenched his fists tightly. I actually made 2 consecutive mistakes in the battle. Chen Hongfeng never expected that a Bronze X/Epic Fairy Source-type life form, the burning sunflower, would not only be immune to physical damage, but also elemental damage. Could it be that this silver-masked girl was using a cheat code? Looking at the silver mask, Chen Hongfeng could not help but recall the scene of the blue flash purple butterfly sealing the smelly swamp. It was so similar to this scene. However, the blue flash purple butterfly had been replaced by the burning sunflower Gemini. The flames on the burning sunflower Gemini's body roasted the smelly swamp, quickly evaporating the little water in it. Once the swamp was dry, the scarlet flames would pour in through the cracks in the swamp. They continued to strip away the water in the depths. The obsidian iron wild bull's silver skill, pain buffer, was over, and the corrosive damage of the rotten mud rain was directly applied to the obsidian iron wild bull's body. The obsidian iron wild bull's metal skin became mottled, and the corrosive effect continued to seep into the obsidian iron wild bull's flesh. Chu Ci did not recall the burning sunflower Gemini, who had sealed the huge-tailed swamp lizard. After weighing the pros and cons, the burning sunflower Gemini on the smooth-toothed elephant lizard used distorted heat wave and attached it to the obsidian iron wild bull. At the same time, he asked the burning sunflower to use its exclusive skill, Gemini Care, to inject the vitality collected from the smooth-toothed elephant lizard and the huge-tailed swamp lizard into the obsidian iron wild bull. The burning sunflower's exclusive skill, Gemini Care, was paired with the obsidian iron wild bull's exclusive skill, pain absorption. The obsidian iron wild bull's injuries were stabilized thanks to double heal. Chu Ci was also facing a huge problem. She was only a C-rank spirit chi professional, while Chen Hongfeng was a B-rank spirit chi professional. While Chu Ci and Chen Hongfeng were fighting, Chen Hongfeng hadn't used up much of his spiritual energy. However, she had already used up more than half of her spiritual power. Chen Hongfeng looked at the Bronze X/Epic Fairy Source-type burning sunflower. It could actually help Faze recover. He cursed in his heart. He was only picking a lucky audience member, how did he end up picking a cheater? He looked at the recovering obsidian iron wild bull and the smooth-toothed elephant lizard, whose forelimbs were still bleeding. Chen Hongfeng gritted his teeth and decisively used the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's exclusive skill, Burning Blood Strike. In an instant, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's greenish-black body emitted a thick layer of purplish-red luster. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard's aura suddenly rose. It opened its mouth and spat out a dark red energy beam. It shot toward the obsidian iron wild bull, which was less than 5 meters away from it. When Chu Ci sensed the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's mutation, she decisively withdrew the gold jade shield outside her body. Instead, she let the yellow jadeite golden butterfly attach the yellow jadeite shield to the obsidian iron wild bull's body and cooperate with the burning sunflower Gemini's distorted heat wave to protect it. Although the huge-tailed swamp lizard was forced into the swamp by the other burning sunflower Gemini, the rotten mud rain did not stop. The rotten mud rain was not as strong as it was at the beginning, with less than 1/3 of its original power. However, Chu Ci's actions still made everyone present, including Lin Yuan and Lu Jia, stand up. When the rotten mud rain fell on Chu Ci, a green chain suddenly appeared on the obsidian iron wild bull's body and wrapped around Chu Ci's left hand. A long red energy chain also appeared on Chu Ci's right hand, and the other end was connected to the obsidian iron wild bull's body. The second one was even more powerful. End of this chapter. Chapter 628. When Chu Ci was injured by the carrion mud rain, the damage was transmitted to the obsidian iron wild bull through the red chain. The long green chain kept feeding back the obsidian iron wild bull's vitality. The audience did not know, but Lin Yuan knew that this was the obsidian iron wild bull's elite skill, Sacrifice. Lin Yuan had taken out all his savings to buy this obsidian iron wild bull, which was the best choice he could make. This was also the best choice that the heavens and the unseen heavens luck could give her. An elite/epic sharp rock bull was not outstanding, and Lin Yuan could easily enhance it now. However, this rare elite skill, sacrifice, had allowed Lin Yuan to have a lot of resources. He still felt that encountering the sharp iron horn bull with its damaged roots and elite skill, sacrifice, was the best thing he had ever picked up. Fortunately, no creation masters would go to the Fey wholesale market in a small place like the Xia region. Even if there were good things, they would be covered in dust. When the obsidian iron wild bull's level was low, the effect of sacrifice was not obvious. Now that the obsidian iron wild bull's strength had reached Silver V/Fantasy 2, the effects of the elite sacrifice could finally begin to show. When Chu Ci withdrew the yellow jade golden butterfly's golden jade shield in the Carrion Mud Rain, Hua Ziyuan, who was commentating, immediately turned to look at a middle-aged man beside him. When the middle-aged man saw Hua Ziyuan's gaze, he secretly mobilized his spiritual energy, and a pink clam shell appeared in his palm. When the pink clam shell opened and closed, pink bubbles were constantly spat out. It looked exceptionally dreamy. It was also this middle-aged man who summoned the pink clamshell that allowed Lu Jie to return to his seat in the audience stand. The live duel might only be a challenge, but the collision of Fays wasn't a joke. In fact, it was easier to use Fays to attack spirit chi professionals in order to determine the winner in a real battle. Real battles had always been very dangerous. The middle-aged man beside Hua Ziyuan was a staff member of the Guild Alliance's official team to protect the spirit chi professionals and Fays in the arena. Each staff member was at least A rank, and their contracted Fays were the standard Fays that the Guild Alliance had prepared for the competition, the Plum Rain Wall Snail. The Plum Rain mussel looked small and cute, and the pink bubbles it spat out were very dreamy. She could easily arouse the young girl's heart hidden in the depths of an 80-year-old man's heart. However, this Plum Rain Wall Snail that was filled with the heart of a young girl was an absolute safeguard erected by the Guild Alliance for the players in the arena. The shell of the Plum Rain conch held up the walls of the conch. The walls of the conch were abnormally sturdy and could withstand physical, elemental, and even mental damage. At the same time, a pink plum rain would fall on the inside of the conch. The plum rain had a powerful stimulating effect, but it couldn't instantly revive a Fae that was on the verge of death. However, it could prolong a severely injured Fae's life. After the convenience, healing-type spirit chi professionals and creation masters would take over the treatment. However, every time the plum rain mussel attacked, it usually meant that a Fae or a spirit chi professional would suffer a fatal attack. It was impossible for a Fae's death to determine the outcome of a real arena duel. The middle-aged man's use of the plum rain mussel would disrupt the competition. Therefore, the middle-aged man had to make the correct judgment based on the situation on the field. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he would not easily make a move. When the middle-aged man saw the green and red chains connecting Chu Ci and the brilliant iron wild bull, he no longer paid attention to Chu Ci. Instead, he looked at the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's exclusive skill, blood-burning strike, which shot out an energy beam from its tongue. As a staff member of the Guild Alliance, this was not the first time the middle-aged man had seen Chen Hongfeng's smooth-toothed elephant lizard use its exclusive skill, blood-burning strike. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard burned all the water elemental energy and blood in its body and would enter a near-death state after activating the skill. It could be said to contain all the energy in the Gold X/Epic smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body. This made the middle-aged man pour his spiritual power into the plum rain mussel, ready to immediately treat the brilliant iron wild bull after it was hit by the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's blood-burning strike. It would prolong the brilliant iron wild bull's life. Logically speaking, the middle-aged man had been prepared to block the blood-burning strike and determined that the smooth-toothed elephant lizard and the brilliant iron wild bull would be eliminated at the same time. After all, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard would enter a near-death state after using blood-burning strike and would not contribute any strength in this battle. All he could do was become a live target. However, Chu Si's yellow jadeite golden butterfly and burning sunflower Gemini cast 2 layers of shields on the luminous iron wild bull. This meant that Chu Si was willing to let the luminous iron wild bull take the damage. This made it difficult for the middle-aged man to weigh the pros and cons. As a king-class expert, the middle-aged man knew that she had a shocking background after seeing her Fey equipment. Therefore, the middle-aged man did not want anything to happen to the brilliant iron wild bull because of his negligence. Otherwise, there would be a lot of trouble in the future. Just as the burning blood strike struck the burning sunflower's elite skill, distorted heat wave, the high-temperature heat wave was directly pierced through by the energy beam. The high-temperature heat wave that was pierced through quickly retracted and surged towards the energy beam formed by the burning blood strike. However, this distorted heat wave only offset a little of the energy of the burning blood strike and did not have any obvious effect. Chu Si immediately narrowed her eyes and shouted. Yellow Jade Golden Butterfly, activate your exclusive skill, Tremor Counterattack. Glorious Iron Wild Bull, activate exclusive skill, Pain Absorption. The burning sunflower Gemini has injected all the life force of the Gemini protection into the blazing iron wild bull's body. Then, Chu Si commanded her 3 Fays in succession. The yellow jade golden butterfly, the glorious iron wild bull, and the burning sunflower Gemini immediately used their exclusive skills. The energy beam formed by the burning blood strike penetrated the gold jade shield. The gold jade shield instantly exploded, and due to its exclusive skill, Counterattack Tremor, it was like a large bell. A portion of the energy damage was blasted towards the smooth-toothed elephant lizard in the form of an energy tremor. Logically speaking, the yellow jade golden butterfly's exclusive skill, Counterattack Tremor, had a counterattack effect. Since the yellow jade golden butterfly was only a bronze/fantasy breed, its rebound ability was not considered strong. However, the burning blood strike's energy was simply too massive. Even if it was only a portion of the rebound, the huge energy tremor caused the air to become a little distorted. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard had fallen into a state of near death due to using its exclusive skill, Burning Blood Strike. Now that it was severely shaken by the energy tremor, dark red blood flowed out of its eyes, nose, and mouth. The first one was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 629. It was obvious that the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's internal organs had been severely injured during the tremor just now. As for the bright iron wild bull, the energy beam formed by the blood-burning strike blasted a large hole in its back after the gold jade shield exploded. This cylindrical bloody hole penetrated the bright iron wild bull's body. It sent the bright iron wild bull flying nearly 10 meters away before stopping. Just as the bright iron wild bull suffered this serious injury, a layer of green light lingered around its wound. This green light was the bright iron wild bull's exclusive skill, Pain Absorption. It absorbed a portion of the damage and converted the damage into vitality to repair the bright iron wild bull's body. The burning sunflower Gemini was not affected by the blood-burning strike at all. The burning sunflower Gemini flew around the bright iron wild bull's wound, and the gem on its forehead slowly darkened. It injected all the vitality it had absorbed from the smooth-toothed elephant lizard and the huge-tailed swamp lizard into the bright iron wild bull's body. This collision caused the audience to let out a deafening exclamation. This collision was clearly the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's attack, but it looked much more miserable than the bright iron wild bull. The bright iron wild bull had fallen to the ground, and its blood had dyed the ground red. However, the bright iron wild bull was still struggling to stand up and had not completely lost its combat strength. At this point, it was clear who was superior. The audience's cheers reached the climax at this moment. Did the great iron bull princess grow up eating iron? How can a fae be so tough? Great iron bull princess. Your bull is the toughest. Fuck. This smooth-toothed elephant lizard was shocked by the energy wave that appeared out of nowhere. It can't be dead, right? The middle-aged man next to Hua Ziyuan stared at the smooth-toothed elephant lizard and sighed. he looked at Hua Ziyuan as though he was looking at an immortal. The middle-aged man was originally prepared to help the smooth-toothed elephant lizard hang on to its life. However, the middle-aged man had already injected spiritual power into the plum rain wall snail, and it was about to use the plum rain heart wall. When the middle-aged man sensed the sudden change in the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body, he immediately stopped the plum rain wall snail. The moment the smooth-toothed elephant lizard entered a near-death state, its aura suddenly transformed into a dragon species phase unique aura. In a split second, a powerful heartbeat echoed from the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body. It was as if the heart of the smooth-toothed elephant lizard had become a blood pump with super horsepower, constantly pumping blood to the whole body of the smooth-toothed elephant lizard. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard, which was in a dying state, suddenly opened its eyes. The originally cruel and cunning lizard eyes had become the cruel and majestic eyes of a dragon. The smooth-toothed lizard's dragon aura dragon's pressure burst stood and let and burst from the smooth-toothed elephant dragon's lizard. The awakening of the dragon species bloodline by a gold smooth-toothed elephant lizard would not have caused such a big commotion, but the loudspeakers on Chu Si and Chen Hongfeng spread the sound of the awakening of the dragon species bloodline to the entire Palace of Radiance. And Chen, dragon. Dragon lizard dragon Chen. Chen. Dragon Chen, dragon Chen, lizard Chen dragon, Chen, he, dragon, and unexpectedly, blue. However, he did not expect the smooth-toothed elephant lizard to give him such a big surprise at such a critical juncture. Lin Yuan frowned as he looked at the smooth-toothed elephant lizard, which had gone from a near-death state to full of vigor. Under true data, Lin Yuan knew that this smooth-toothed elephant lizard had actually stimulated the dragon species bloodline in its body. Lin Yuan had enhanced countless fays with dragon species bloodlines, so he naturally understood that after a fay awakened its dragon species bloodline, it would immediately restore its body to its peak state. It was just like when Blackie, the spirit-gather goldfish, had awakened its flood dragon species bloodline and evolved into the spirit guide ichthyosaur. However, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard had not awakened its flood dragon species bloodline but another branch of the dragon species bloodline, the ancient dragon. Lin Yuan saw the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body, which was originally 10 meters long and 5 meters tall, suddenly expand. Its body length expanded to 12 meters, its height expanded to 6 meters, and its body became more robust. Many bluish-purple bone plates bulged on its bluish-purple skin. These bone plates quickly pierced through the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's bluish-purple skin, forming pieces of hard bone armor. Immediately after, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's upper and lower jaws, which were like huge clamps, suddenly doubled in length. As the smooth-toothed elephant lizard opened its mouth and roared, Lin Yuan saw hook-like hooks grow on its upper and lower jaws, which originally only had fine bone teeth. Lin Yuan could now imagine being bitten by the smooth-toothed elephant lizard that had awakened its ancient dragon species bloodline. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard's ability, smooth-toothed bite, combined with its enhanced bite force and increased tonnage due to its enlarged body. Its lethality would probably be at least 2.5 times higher than before. Under true data, Lin Yuan saw that the name of the smooth-toothed elephant lizard that had awakened its dragon species bloodline had become smooth-toothed elephant dragon. Lin Yuan's eyes narrowed slightly. The smooth-toothed elephant dragon was a branch of the smooth-toothed genus among the ancient dragon species. It was considered one of the more outstanding ancient dragon species bloodlines, even if it could not compare to the dragon wave sea king chalk Mosasaurus imperial dragon species bloodline. The smooth-toothed elephant species was also considered a relatively good bloodline among the ancient dragon species. This sudden turn of events caused the atmosphere, which had already reached its peak, to rise again. Even the attention of the team members at the seats could not help but be attracted. However, most of these team members looked at Hua Ziyuan with indescribable expressions. Ha, Hua Ziyuan's poisonous milk is strong enough. Princess Iron Ox has been harmed so badly by Hua Ziyuan. Hua Ziyuan's poisonous milk is well deserved. I'm afraid. Upon hearing the audience's ridicule, Hua Ziyuan smiled awkwardly. He looked at the bright iron wild bull that had fallen to the ground and the yellow jadeite golden butterfly and burning sunflower Gemini, whose levels were obviously lower than the huge-tailed swamp lizard, and hurriedly changed his words. So far in this match, due to the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's unexpected bloodline awakening, the scales of victory have tilted in the direction of the Dragon Gate Guild Club's Qin Hung Feng. Even if the burning sunflower Gemini restrains the huge-tailed swamp lizard, the difference of 2 grades is destined to be helpless. Upon hearing Hua Ziyuan's words, Lin Yuan wore a meaningful smile on his face. The bright iron wild bull had not suffered so many vicious beatings for nothing. The bright iron wild bull was constantly suffering damage, and the burning sunflower Gemini's endurance had increased its endurance. In addition to the damage caused by the smooth-toothed elephant lizard to the bright iron wild bull, the huge-tailed swamp lizard's corrosive rain and the burning sunflower Gemini's burning flames had also attached to the bright iron wild bull's body. They had all invisibly increased the attack power of the bright iron wild bull's exclusive skill, Annihilation Gaze. The second one was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 630. Not to mention that the smooth-toothed elephant lizard had awakened the dragon species bloodline in its body, even if it advanced from Gold X/Epic to Platinum I/Epic. It was likely that he wouldn't be able to withstand the immense mental damage that the blazing iron wild bull's annihilation gaze could inflict. Qin Hung Feng sensed the smooth-toothed Japalura's condition and looked at the luminous iron wild bull lying on the ground. The outcome of this battle is already very obvious. Why don't we end this battle here? Chu Xi ignored Qin Hung Feng and turned to look at the middle-aged man beside Hua Ziyuan. Senior, please pay attention to your defense. Chu Xi's words stunned the middle-aged man. He did not understand what she was up to. However, he immediately became highly focused. After reminding the middle-aged man, Chu Xi spoke to the brilliant iron wild bull in a low voice. Little iron block, you've worked hard in this battle. Use your annihilation gaze one last time. The brilliant iron wild bull stared intently at the smooth-toothed Japalura. The pitch-black bull's eyes instantly turned red, and an invisible spiritual attack was launched towards the smooth-toothed Japalura, which had awakened its dragon species bloodline. Chu Xi had used the exclusive skill Annihilation Gaze countless times in the wilderness, so she knew very well how powerful it was. The luminous iron wild bull's Annihilation Gaze was a mental attack that was extremely difficult to defend against. Moreover, as long as the target was in the blazing iron wild bull's line of sight, they would not be able to dodge. She wanted to use this challenge to prove to him that she had worked hard day and night to improve over the past year. However, he didn't want to kill his opponent's Fae. The middle-aged man immediately noticed that a formless spiritual attack was smashing towards the smooth-toothed Japalura like a heavy hammer. The middle-aged man shouted. Plum Rain Muscle, Double Plum Rain Heart Wall. Due to the fact that the mental attack was invisible, Qin Hung Feng had no idea that the smooth-toothed Japalura, which had just awakened its dragon-type bloodline, was in danger. But at that moment, Qin Hung Feng saw 2 thin and thick arms appear in front of the smooth-toothed Japalura. In an instant, the thin outer layer of the heart wall shattered. The inner layer of the heart wall was 5 times thicker than the outer layer. After a few ripples, there were no more waves. The middle-aged man's face revealed a look of shock as he whispered a few words to Hua Ziyuan beside him. Hua Ziyuan quickly said. According to the referee, the bright iron wild bull's attack was enough to kill the smooth-toothed Japalura. Therefore, the smooth-toothed Japalura has been eliminated. Hua Ziyuan's mouth twitched awkwardly as he spoke. He felt his face hurt. It had only been a few seconds, but the slap in the face was too fast. He had just said that the scales of victory were tilting towards Dragon Gate Club's Qin Hung Feng. The echo of his words had not yet dissipated. The scales of victory that were leaning towards Qin Hung Feng were broken by the silver-masked genius in the blink of an eye. Hua Ziyuan knew that the referee's judgment would cause an uproar. Hua Ziyuan's heart was similarly indescribably shocked. Huaziyu and didn't dare to imagine how a cow species fey that couldn't stand up could launch a spiritual attack that exceeded its own grade. The Plum Rain Muscle's two-layered Plum Rain Heart Wall was something that everyone present could see for themselves. According to the rescuer, the outer layer of the Plum Rain Heart Wall was Platinum I normal. Meanwhile, the inner layer of the Plum Rain Heart Wall was Diamond V normal. Not only had the outer layer of the Plum Rain Heart Wall been shattered, but even the inner layer had suffered a certain degree of damage from the impact. The Bright Iron Wild Bull, which was seriously injured and couldn't stand up, had launched a spiritual attack that roughly reached the level of a Platinum 3/Flawless Phase full power attack. This was a proper cross-grade combat power. Chen Hongfeng was the most dumbfounded by everything that had happened in an instant. Chen Hongfeng also didn't expect that the smooth-tooth elephant lizard had clearly awakened its dragon species bloodline and evolved into a smooth-tooth Japalura. However, before the newly evolved smooth-tooth Japalura could do anything, it had been inexplicably knocked out by the opponent's attack. The Guild Alliance's referee was affiliated with the Guild Alliance's officials, and no one would question the referee's impartiality in a competition organized by the Guild Alliance. Chen Hongfeng took a deep breath and looked at the silver-masked young lady opposite him with horror and determination. There was also a trace of sincere gratitude. Chen Hongfeng had seen Chu Xi's reminder to the match's rescuers, but he didn't know what she was up to. Chen Hongfeng hadn't noticed the spiritual attack at all. He only knew that the smooth-tooth Japalura had been attacked after seeing the Plum Rain Heart Wall shatter. His smooth-tooth elephant lizard had already recovered to its peak state after awakening its dragon species bloodline. If not for the silver-masked young lady's reminder, the referee wouldn't have paid so much attention to the smooth-tooth Japalura. In that case, the smooth-tooth Japalura's head might have been shattered like the outer layer of the Plum Rain Heart Wall. Chen Hongfeng pursed his lips and recalled the smooth-tooth Japalura back into his spiritual spatial zone. Although the extreme reversal made Chen Hongfeng feel a little uncomfortable, it wasn't unacceptable. After all, before the smooth-tooth Japalura had awakened its dragon species bloodline, it would have been the same result. Chen Hongfeng squatted down and touched the faintly dried-up swamp with both hands. He injected all the spiritual power in his body into the huge-tailed swamp lizard's body. Chen Hongfeng only had a total of 2 phases, and the smooth-tooth Japalura had been defeated. He could only rely on the huge-tailed swamp lizard for this challenge. After receiving the spirit chi from Chen Hongfeng, the huge-tailed swamp lizard began to release a large amount of water elements from its body. The water that had been stripped by the burning sunflower Gemini in the swamp was immediately replenished. The smelly swamp became moist again and rapidly spread in all directions. The rotten mud rain curtain, which had been reduced by 2/3, was once again at its strongest state. When Chu Xi saw Chen Hongfeng's actions, she immediately recalled the obsidian iron wild bull into her spiritual spatial zone. The obsidian iron wild bull's body had been pierced through. Even with pain absorption and Gemini's care, the obsidian iron wild bull's body had been pierced through. Despite its exclusive skills, pain absorption and Gemini care, the obsidian iron wild bull was no longer of any use in this battle. After losing the obsidian iron wild bull, Chu Xi could only rely on the yellow jadeite golden butterfly and the burning sunflower Gemini. Chu Xi used the golden jadeite shield on the golden jadeite shield and put it firmly on her body again. Chu Xi's face didn't have the joy of instantly killing the smooth-toothed Japalura. Instead, it became even more solemn. This was because Chu Xi's spiritual power was faintly reaching the bottom. Even if she used all her spiritual power to support the golden jadeite shield, it could only last for 3 minutes in the rotten mud rain curtain. The first time was even longer. End of this chapter. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.